Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
You know, my magic 8-ball just rolled off my speaker. Literally. Just rolled off my speaker. I'm blaming Pam Oslie tonight. I'm totally blaming her. Why? Because she's intuitive that way and sent the ghosts after me. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Scott, Thursday night edition. I will not be here tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Jackie and Lee will be hosting their show, Element 115, and going straight into Spaced Out Radio for an abbreviated 2 hours. So make sure you check that on out. Pam is here. She is Pam. And Pam, I have to tell you right off the bat that if you hear me say all night, I am Pam, it's because one of our listeners in the chat room actually has the name I am Pam as their title. So if you hear me say I am Pam a lot, and that the fact that we now have I am Pam t-shirts in our Spaced Out Radio store dedicated to Pam, then I just want you to know that I'm not making fun of you or anything. So I'm just going to let that out right off the bat. Hi, everybody. All right. We got Race Fan in the gold medal position. SJ with a silver. Michael Fontaine taking home the bronze medal tonight. Hi, Lightwalkers and Kurt M. Kitty Caddywhack. Deanna Ann, how are you? Deanna Ann will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Abbott Hoffman is here. Hi, Stephanie Kenny Blankenship. Timmy in the backwoods. There he is. Memorial Gardens. Cosmic Joe. How you guys doing? Mama Catherine. Mwah. I love talking to you earlier, Mama Catherine. Anytime I get to hear your voice, it just makes me feel full of love. Thank you. I love you. I do. She's so awesome. Oh, Laura Lobbs, nice to see you. From Stockholm, Sweden, weighing in at 222 pounds, wearing number 17 tonight, starting at left wing, Lars Janssen. There he is. Robert Lamoth, Swamp Gas Jenkins, Sandra Kincaid. Good to see you all. Hi, Melvin from Mars. Good to have you here. Eternity Eternal. Thank you for coming on in. Hi, Mama Susan, Nina Williams. Necessary Dialogue. Good to see you all. JSCO and Operation Shutdown. Good to have you here. Hello there, Pam Harris. I am Pam. I am Pam. Right there, right on the screen. I am Pam. Then she'll say, you are Dave. And I'll say, no, I am Pam. It just goes on and on and on. Richard Elmore, how are you? Lisa Smith, Christine Lynn, how are you all? Ruth Kleber has returned. Ruth Kleber will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Palladium, a man. Super Knower, Noble Patrick, Vanessa, Cryptid Search. Welcome to SOR Chat as we continue on with our roll call. Let us say hello to Rexamillion and just another guy named Harry. Algaray over on Twitch. He did 75 chin-ups in 15 seconds to warm up for this show. That's heavy, man. Purple-haired Pixie Lara, Polly Roderman, Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Yennefer with a soft J. Rich Buddy, nice to see you both. I am Pam, everybody. Digger Dog, nice to have you here. And see, look at I am Pam. You are Dave. You are Dave. No, I am Pam. Anyways, Digger Dog, how are you? Stargazer, nice to see you. And we are caught up. Let's get to the radio side. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us as Pam Oslie is going to be here talking about all things about evolving humanity, auras, psychic intuition, and we may even have a paranormal story or two or three or four or five because she's pretty awesome that way. She's got nice hair too. You know how I like my guests having nice hair. Pam's got nice hair. All right, let's continue on with our roll call. Toe Tag, nice to see you tonight. And who else has dropped in here? I think we're caught up there. Remember, the Super Chat is open. It is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis if you're watching on YouTube. And, of course, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You can wear our stuff out in public and actually be happy you're wearing it, to more than just a garage sale, a flea market, or painting and going to the hardware store. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out the Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got an awesome show. We're going to delve right into the deep part of the brain. That brain matter, that little gray piece of stuffing that never seems to get the enough use out of it. Intuition, psychic ability, auras, a little bit of Zen, a little bit of chi sprinkled on top. Pam Oslie is going to join us. She's a best-selling author, award winner, and she's got fantastic hair. I'm just going to put that out there. Fantastic hair. I know you can't see that in radio land, but my God, I like a good set of hair. Guy or girl, I don't care. You know, you get a nice set of hair, you got to pay compliments to it. All right. Then in hour 3, Steve Stockton is here. And from there, Robin Haynes will be here with the Crypted Report, followed up by Dave 101 Night and the weird news of the week. See, doesn't that sound jam-packed? Doesn't that sound like an entertaining 3 hours to you? I think it is. All right. What do you say we just get right to it? Shall we? It's what we always do. Pam Oslie is a best-selling author, consultant, visionary, professional psychic intuitive, medium, and aura expert. She has won awards such as the Holistic Transformational Leader of the Year Award by the Global Association of Holistic Psychotherapy and Coaching. For over 40 years, Pam has had extensive clientele, including many celebrities. She also had the #1 show for 11 years at a popular Santa Barbara radio station, which broadcasts internationally via the internet. Pam is the founder of auracolors.com, a site designed to help you create success, joy, and fulfillment in every area of your life. Lord knows I need some enjoyment and fulfillment right now. She also developed lovecolors.com. That site helps you find love and friendships by matching you with people who have compatible aura colors. I don't know if that one's for me, only because I'm very introverted. Very introverted. Doesn't seem like it because I talk on the radio, but hey, I'm staring at my own face. And trust me, it's not pretty. Face for radio here. Pam Oslie, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. I see you laughing in the background. I'm sure you... It's a good way to start.
Yeah, you're very entertaining, Dave. I'm supposed to be laughing.
Perfect.
I love a sense of humor. That's one of my favorite things.
Well, our audience on YouTube and Twitch will be able to see how I wasn't lying about how perfect and gorgeous your hair is. It's very
Thanks.
nice.
Thank you. And it's real.
Oh, yes. Mine too. No male pattern baldness here. That's for sure. For over 40 years, Pam, you have been dealing with clients and dealing with the supernatural, paranormal, and every, intuitive thought in between. Did you learn how to do this, or were you born with it since childhood?
Okay, so first of all, I think all of us have this. It's just some are better at it than others. Some of us, just like we can all play the piano, but not everybody is Mozart or whatever. So I believe we all have these abilities. It's part of our human nature. However, I didn't know that I had these abilities until I got thrown in the water with it when I was, well, let's see, it was 30, almost 40 years ago now. I went to hear a psychic speak. And I walked into the room. He was doing a group, this shaman from Britain, and he was doing this whole group. And I walked in to hear what he had to say. And he said, you know how to do this. Get up here. I was like, what? What? He pulled me out in front of the group that night. And he said, you know how to do this. I want you to start telling people what you see about them. And I found out I was getting detailed information about people I'd never met before in my life. Like I knew one woman was pregnant, Dave. She didn't even know she was pregnant. For the first time in my life, I saw the spirit of a little girl standing next to her. And I knew she was pregnant. She went to the doctor later, found out she was pregnant, and she did have a little girl. So it was like, wow, I got thrown in the water. I had no idea. Even though that psychic said, look, you've been asking to go to the next level, and this is it. I was like, who knew?
What do you remember about your first bit of intuition?
Well, after I found out that this was a natural ability, I looked back over my life and I went, no wonder I knew that. No wonder when the car broke down in the middle of the night and it was a dark, seriously, in Santa Barbara, we were driving home. I was driving home with one of my coworkers from a charity event we were doing. And her car broke down and we cruised off the freeway into not the best area of town in Santa Barbara. Yes, we do have barrios here. Anyway, it was middle of the night. It was dark, no street lights, nothing. And I went up, this was before cell phones. And I just chose a house and walked up to it, knocked on the door. The guy, got out of bed. He opened the door and he just happened to be the guy that owned a car repair place right around the corner. So he fixed the car that night. And I look back and I go, God, no wonder I knew to go to that house instead of all the others that were around. And things like that. I went back through and I went, wow, no wonder I had that dream about that person. No wonder I knew that about that person. So I started filling in the blanks, but I didn't remember those until I accessed that information that night.
Oh, my goodness. And did you just steamroll it from there? Like it just started happening naturally from there?
Well, let's put it this way. I hadn't, my friends started finding out what I did that night and said like, hey, give me a reading. Tell me what you see about me. And so it's like, well, what are you talking? Anyway, I kind of got thrown in the water. So I tell them what I saw, including things I didn't know about them. I mean, the things that came through, I didn't know about them and their family and their past. And then their friends started coming to me. And Dave, every single time someone was coming to me, I was terrified that I wasn't going to get anything. So I was really insecure going, well wait, I haven't been, I don't know how, what? So I was very insecure. I was afraid every single time nothing was going to come through. But over time, I just got, wow, it's coming through. It's coming through. I can count on this information to tap in. And so, 40 years later, I'm like, okay, I guess I can do this. I still have doubts. Like, I retired 2 years ago, Dave. I just came out of retirement to chat with you.
Oh, well, okay. Why me here? Hold on a second here. Why me? You had a happily boring life going on, and then some Canadian calls you up and says, hey, I need you on my radio show.
Yeah. Well, I checked you out first. I looked at your show and I go, okay, he's a yellow violet aura colors. I like yellow violets. They're usually interesting. They're fun. They're open-minded. They can have a high-level conversation. So, okay, sure, I'll go for it. He seems like he's going to be a good guy and he's open-minded enough to have these amazing conversations. Let's see what happens. But my point was, I haven't really done readings for 2 years. And then all of a sudden I'm getting emergencies coming in from friends of mine. So I've started doing them just for my friends for emergencies like missing persons,
Yes.
that kind of stuff. So again, I went, oh my gosh, I haven't done it for 2 years. Maybe I can't do it anymore, but zipped right back in there.
I need to ask you, how do you retire from being a psychic? That's like being a professional fisherman. How do you retire from that?
Well, I like somebody else said I'm being rewired. Dave, I was seeing 6 to 8 people a day for 37 years.
Oh
And I
my.
go, okay, it's time. And I made it through COVID. I helped people all the way through COVID. I got really inundated during COVID. And at one point I had a year waiting list, and that got overwhelming to me. People call up and go, I need to talk to you today. And I go, I can talk to you in a year. I didn't like that feeling. So I had this sense that it was time for me to go to a new level. And I wasn't, well, you see how busy you are. I wasn't being able to go to my own new level personally because I was too busy seeing 6 to 8 people a day. I was doing my radio show. I was writing books. I was doing workshops and seminars. I was traveling around. I was being in New York on national TV shows. It's like I wasn't being able to go to the next level myself. And I heard the guidance. You need to stop doing what you're doing. You need to quit all of it, which I did. And it's time to go to a new level. So it's not retired like doing nothing. I certainly haven't slowed down that much. It's just I'm shifting to a level of things that I sense are coming, Dave. And to me, that's really important. I want to be able to live what I see is coming so I can be an example of that. That's usually what I've done in my life is I'll learn something. I'll prove it to myself, and then I demonstrate it to other people. Then I teach it to other people. I want to know it's real before I get anybody else involved. So that's what my new focus is now, because we're in a big shift in case you haven't noticed, and there's a lot of big stuff coming. So I want to be on that wave.
Oh, what is the wave? What is actually, got you coming out of retirement, so to speak?
Well, I'm not coming out of retirement. I'm just hanging with you tonight. I'm not seeing clients. You want me to get right into that, Dave, of what I've been shown is coming?
Yeah.
We're just going to go for the big stuff right off the bat. Okay.
Bring the juice.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a couple things first, and then I'll tell you the big one the big thing that they showed me, the big story. First of all, I got really concerned what was going on the planet. And I went, why are we so divided? I mean, I've never seen it like this before. What's happening? Why are we so divided? And they showed me, when I say I tap into, I don't know what you want to call it, higher consciousness, beings on the other side, higher level awareness, because I always want guidance that way, because I don't seem to get it out in the world. It's like there's a lot of things going on out there you can't get guidance from. So I tap into higher consciousness, and I went, why are we so divided? And Dave, they showed me a cell, like a biological cell. I went, okay, what's that? They go, when it gets ready to grow, it divides. And then it divides again, and it divides again, not to go off into different directions, but to become a bigger entity, to turn into something larger. I went, oh, okay, so we're turning into something larger, something more expansive. So that helped me feel better. And then I went, and again, just my personal stuff. And by the way, I always want to tell people, I'm not here to change people's beliefs or get them to believe what I do or do what I do. I like to demonstrate that we're more than we've been taught, that we have greater freedom, that we have greater powers, we have greater abilities. We are way more massive of beings than we've been taught with these little biological Newtonian physics, right? So my goal is just to inspire, educate, empower, and people still get to do what they came here to do. I'm not trying to change anybody. So anything that I share tonight, I'm just sharing. Because I also went, why does it feel like we're going backwards? I mean, we're doing wars that, it's like, oh my gosh, it's been going on for thousands of years. Why does it feel like we're going backwards all of a sudden? And they showed me a slingshot. They said it's pulling back, pulling back, pulling back. And when it lets go, it's going to fly forward. So I go, okay, I get it. So that helped me feel better. Then what they showed me, Dave, was we're headed, or we've started into a new renaissance. And they said we've been in a place similar to this before, where way back when we had the fall of the Roman Empire. Then we had the Dark Ages, in which, by the way, we had a pandemic. We had the Black Death during the Dark Ages, where everybody thought the world was over, everyone was dying. It was, that was it. It was dark. There was no getting out of that. And people couldn't even imagine what was going to emerge out of the Dark Ages, which was the Renaissance. And it was a new science that showed up. Newtonian physics showed up in that. The world wasn't flat anymore. The world wasn't the center of the universe anymore, the center of the galaxy, whatever. It wasn't, the world was round. The printing press came out. So now there was mass communication more than there was. New art, new philosophy, new literature, new beauty. It's like, wow. And they couldn't even have fathomed that during the Dark Ages, right? What was going to emerge. So what they've shown me is that we're in a similar phase now, but what's going to emerge out of this is not Newtonian physics. And I'm sure your audience is smart, educated enough to know Newtonian physics. It's just Newton saying that the universe is a big machine. It's a mechanistic, biological machine and cause and effect and, that kind of stuff. What's emerging in the new Renaissance is all based on quantum physics. And quantum physics is all about consciousness and energy. So everything that's emerging now is going to be based on consciousness and energy, which is why I can do some of the things that I can do, or all the things that I can do. Not only can I see outside of time and space because I do psychic information, psychic tapping in. I can see people's past, present, and future. I can see people's quote unquote past lives, future lives. I can do remote viewing. I teach people how to bend spoons. I see energy fields or auras. I can talk to the other side, so I can do mediumship. I can affect matter. We've been able to change the weather. All of these things are and I'm not California woo-woo, okay? I'm very grounded. I study quantum physics. I want to know why I can do what I can do. So it's all in quantum physics. So these are all abilities that are starting to emerge in the consciousness. And so everything's going to change. The old systems are falling apart, so new ones can emerge. So I'm doing my best to help people stay out of fear, because the changes are coming unless people want to go there. Because one of the other things that I've discovered, that I've learned about, Dave, are parallel universes, which are mind-blowing. And that's a whole other level, is parallel universes. So they showed me all that stuff, and I've been using them to dramatically change my life. It's just more fun. It's more interesting. It's more expansive. And it's amazing who we really are. So that's my goal, is to show people that we're more. And it's more fun and interesting.
I got to tell you, I once ran into myself in a dream from a parallel universe.
Yeah.
And I ran into the evil side of me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't pretty. I remember talking to him, or me, or whoever the hell I was talking about. And like I said, this could be a dream. Don't know. Seemed a little bit more important than a dream. And I remember it was, do you remember the movie, oh heck, what was that? Where it was all black and white, but yet it was color. Lexus Bleedle. I know the movie.
Okay.
Darn it. Kind of like the movie 300, where it wasn't in color, but it was in color. A lot of black and white. Anyways, it was like a rainy night in an old style, small U.S. town with the big buildings, the wide streets, and there was one street light on. And I remember seeing a person standing there because I was looking for a hotel room because I had to catch the bus in the morning. And I ran over that person to see where there would be a hotel or a motel to stay the night. And I realized that I was looking at me. And I was dressed in a black jeans, black boots, black leather jacket, white T-shirt, and it was pouring rain, no umbrella. And I remember me saying, "What are you doing here?" So I'm just looking for a hotel. He goes, "You need to get out of here now." And I said, "Why? What's going on here?" He goes, something along the lines of, if you weren't who you were, I would kill you right now.
Wow. Jeez, Dave.
Yeah, it was totally dark and bizarre. And I still, to this day, it trips me out. I've never had that happen again, but it was weird.
I wonder what pulled you into that particular infinite parallel universe, because and according to quantum physics, we have an infinite number of parallel universes. So I wonder what was going on with you that pulled you into that particular universe. And I'm glad that that was not just a typical dream. They feel different. They feel different.
Yes, they do. It's like when I get taken, because I'm a contactee. When I get taken, I know it always starts in a dream state, but then there's that gravitational pull that just kind of sucks me out of it, and I know they're taking me, and it's like, ah, damn it again. Last time was in February, but it's just weird how it works and how you can pick up the signals.
What do they do when they take you? What's the purpose for that? Do you get answers?
No.
Do you ask?
I never see them.
Huh.
I never see them. But I can tell you this. Here's a weird part of when I was taken in February. Not that I'm trying to turn this bottom of the first hour into my story here. We got 3 minutes to go. I was taken in my dream. My dad was there. My cousin was there. One of my best friends growing up was there. And I heard my phone ring, but it wasn't my phone. It was like one of those old Nokia indestructible phones that people will find in 8,000 years and they'll still charge it up and be able to use it. One of those. And it dropped on the floor. And I went down to pick it up, and that's where I felt the gravitational pull taking me. And I woke up that night afterwards. I went to bed after the show at 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. I woke up back in my bed. It was 2:09. So in that hour and 9 minutes from when I went to bed, fell asleep, I went. And how do I know this? Well, let's play this out a little bit. So in my dream, or when I woke up, I was in my bed and I knew that they were behind me. And I picked my head up, I look out my window, and I see this big flash of white light just go boop, and it was gone. And the feeling of them being there was gone. So I got up out of bed because I had to go to the bathroom. And the minute my feet hit the floor, I was frozen, like dead frozen, where my teeth were chattering. I could have had icicles hanging off my ears. I was so cold. Go to the bathroom, say, screw this, jump in the shower to warm up, and then go back to bed. So I call my father in the morning. I said, hey, Dad, how'd you sleep last night? He goes, I woke up a couple of times, but, same. And I'm laughing. I said, what time did you wake up? He goes, about 7:15 this morning. I said, no, what time did you wake up in the middle of the night? He goes, I woke up at around just after 2 o'clock. I said, what, 2:04, 2:05, 2:09? He goes, yeah, around there. I said, so did I. I said, what woke you up, Dad? He goes, I heard a loud bang, like something fell on the ground in the other room, which would have been the cell phone in the dream. I went, oh, yeah. I said, well, what happened when you got up? He goes, I was really cold. So I had to get up and grab another blanket so I could go back to bed. I said, how do you feel this morning? He goes, I feel different. He goes, my dad was a 50 or 60-year smoker. And he goes, this is the first time I've woken up in years where my chest and my wheezing aren't bothering me in the morning. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
To be able to get all of that stuff happening at the same time.
Wow.
So on that note, Pam, I'm going to pause you there for a little bit because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. And when we return, I want to get more into auras. We never talk auras on this show. I want to know what the heck they're for. What are they doing there? Why are they sprucing up my life like a happy little rainbow, okay, of purple and yellow? I don't know what that means. She says it's important. Pam Oslie is our guest. Her website, auracolors.com. You can get her books online at any major bookstore. So check it on out. She's an award winner and nice hair, too. We'll be right back on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned, everybody. All right.
All right.
Oh, that was some bad feedback. Oh, hurt my ears. All right. Our audience can hear us. So, hi, Chris Teen. I already typed it in, so I'm just going to keep that up. Travis William Moose Toos, how are you? And who else has showed up here? I am Pam. I am Pam. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Tokeland, how are you? I always like to say hello, Pam, to all of our listeners because they're taking the time to hang out with me. So I always like to pass it back a little bit of love. Dead Fish Cheese Spread, how are you? Philip Baccanuts, good to see you. And who am I missing? I'm caught up now. Oh, Rough Rider. He wears a watermelon on his head during Canadian football season. He does.
I love that you talk to him. I love that you acknowledge your listeners. I think that is so cool.
It's something that's important to me.
Yeah. Yeah, people deserve acknowledgement and respect and kindness. I love that you're doing that.
I even sing happy birthday to them when it's their birthday.
Yay.
Hi, Corey. How are you? And you know what? I'm not going to say the name, but I actually had one person come up to me one day and sent me a private message saying, thank you for singing happy birthday to me. It had been years since someone sang happy birthday to me. And he goes, it made me feel really good.
Aww.
So it's little things, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think. That's what I think. And one second here. I'll just write some stuff down there. All right. I'm good. Sweet Donna C, how are you? As long as you're having fun, Pam, that's all that matters.
You talking to me, Pam, or I am Pam?
You are Pam. I am Pam too.
Oh, I'll just all be Pam. It's going to get really crowded in there.
Excuse me. Mama Catherine, I got your text message. Mm-hmm. And nice. Melvin from Mars. Well, thank you, Pixie Lara. Felipe, how are you? Mm-hmm. Let me see something here quickly. Where is it?
Somebody's shooting off firecrackers outside.
Mm-hmm.
4th of July all month.
Oh, my. You know what happens with fireworks around here? People get cranky.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hate the people get cranky. Check this out. I'm going to show you something here. Hold on. Wrong one. Excuse me. Hurry up, Dave. Look at this, people. You don't believe me? There it is. I am Pam t-shirts. Right there. You can get your I am Pam t-shirts. Look at that beautiful little blue color there. Tried to go for a little Tiffany blue for I am Pam. And just so everybody knows, before I did this, I got Pam's permission to do this. And she loves it. And that's why I did it. If she didn't want me to do it, I would never done it. But she wanted me to. So I had people. And then does Pam get mad at you? You're pushing it too far. My goodness, not even any forest fire smoke here.
No, they're all down here right now.
Thank you, Forrest Louie and Aloha Dave, for the super chats. All right, we appreciate it. And don't forget, you could get your I Am Pam t-shirts at spacedoutradio.com right now. Right now. All right, here we go, everybody. We're coming back in 3 seconds. Comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. So glad you're with us. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to get into auras and all weird, strange stuff as we continue here on the big show. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio or hit us up on any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. From the beautiful website, auracolors.com, we have Pam Oslie hanging out from beautiful Santa Barbara, California. Yep, where she knows how to make a martini with not one, not two, but 3 olives. 3 olives. She doesn't take her martinis, too seriously with 3 olives. Pam, welcome back.
Dave, I don't drink. I can't do my drink. No, you don't either. You're so funny. I'll take the olives, though. I like the olives.
I love the olives. I love the olives.
So funny.
All right. What is an aura and why do we have them?
Okay, it's an electromagnetic field or an energy field that radiates off of actually everything. I mean, we're all energy, right? E equals MC squared. We're all energy. We radiate out energy. And I like to explain to people, first of all, we all have the ability to see them, but most people don't. A lot of kids still do. A lot of animals definitely do. But I let people know, even if you can't see them, we all feel them. That's why you can meet somebody for the first time and feel like an instant connection, or you're comfortable being around them. And other people, you're just like, wow, I don't even want to be near that person. You're feeling their aura. You're feeling their energy field. So the way I see them, and I've met a lot of people that see the same thing that I do, and other people that see it differently. A lot of healers sometimes see gold when I see yellow. So I want people to know if they do see them and I'm describing something different, it doesn't mean somebody's right and somebody else is wrong. It means we're having a different experience of the aura, and however we interpret that should still make sense. It should still fit with it. And I think we experience the aura differently, just like we taste food differently, because there are people out there that like Brussels sprouts and I know they're not tasting what I'm tasting. Anyway, so what I see are different layers, different colored bands out from the person. And the 1 or 2 bands that I see that are closest to the person's body are the life colors. Those are the colors that I see that don't ever change in a person's life. They show your theme for this life that you've chosen. I look at it as when you decided to come to the planet, you left breadcrumbs behind in case you got here and forgot why you came here, which is very easy to do. We left a lot of clues behind, some of them in the aura colors. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. Some in astrology, numerology, palmistry, iridology. So we can go back and go, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I'm here. So these 2 bands of colors show me your life purpose, your theme, personality type, what relationships are going to be like for you, what's important, who you're compatible with, who's going to be more challenging for you, how you are with money, potential health issues, family. It's all coded in those 2 colors. And then the outer bands, most people have about 6 feet of bands out from them, except for you violets, Dave. Violets always have huge auras because you guys are here to reach the masses. So your auras get really big so you can reach the masses. Anyway, most people, the average person has about 6 feet of bands. Tans tend to keep them tighter to their bodies. Violets usually have big auras. Anyway, The outer bands, the way I see them, other people see it differently. The outer bands in the aura change all the time according to what's going on with the person at the time. So for example, if I see somebody getting angry, red flares up in their outer bands, but once they're not angry anymore, that red goes away. That's different than a red life color or a red overlay, which are two different things that I see. So, or somebody's on vacation or out playing for a while, a lot of yellow shows up in their outer bands, but once they're back to work, sometimes that yellow goes away again. So that's how I see the aura.
What do the colors of the aura mean?
I see 14 different aura colors, Dave, and I categorize them into 3 different families. There are the physical colors, and those are the people that predominantly process life predominantly through their physical bodies. Those are red, orange, magenta, and yellow. Yellows are touch and hug and sex and all that, but I can give you a brief of each one of those. There are the mental colors, and those are the people that predominantly process life logically in their heads. Logic, facts, data, that information, that kind of stuff. And then there are the spiritual emotional colors. On the mental colors, I'm sorry, are 4 different kinds of tans that I see and greens. Mm-hmm. And then in the spiritual emotional family, those are the colors, those are the people that predominantly process through their intuition, their emotions, their inner feeling, their inner vision. As you violets come from the third eye, you see things, you sense things. You don't understand why other people don't see what you see, because violets see things that they think it's common sense, and other people can't see that far. You see how fast I'm talking, Dave? That's because you have violet. That's because you have violet in your aura. Violets go 150. I see this, and I want to do this project and this project and this project, and how come people can't see? You know. Anyway, so I talk really fast with violets because they tans go step to step, very and sequential. Violets are more holographic almost. So anyway, in the spiritual emotional family, I see blue, violet, indigo, crystal, and lavender. And if you want me to give you like a 1 or 2 sentence about each one of those colors, I'm happy to do that. You tell me.
I would love it.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So reds are just physical. It's all about being an animal, a physical being, eat, drink, be merry. You know, I mean, not merry. They usually have tempers, but I see them a lot being football players and wrestlers and truck drivers, and it's all physical. Or they're dancers, like Madonna's very red. Sean Penn is very red. He's a red. I'm trying to think that, anyway, Lady Gaga's got a lot of red. Marilyn Monroe was predominantly red. They're very sensual, sexual, physical beings. Oranges are the daredevils on the planet. They literally have to put their lives on the line to feel alive. So I see them doing extreme sports and race car driving and stunt people. Jackie Chan has a lot of orange. Evel Knievel had a lot of orange. I think it was Shaun White, if I remember right. But they're risk takers, but physical risk taking. Then there are the magentas, and I don't see that many magentas, but they tend to live in places like San Francisco or New York because they tend to be very outrageous beings. They tend to be more solo act. A lot of violets think they're magentas, but they're not. Again, magentas are physical again. Andy Warhol was magenta. They like to take physical reality and twist it and make it bizarre. They like to shock people. They tend to be loners because they're so shocking. Most people can't hang out with them. So I'm almost positive that it was the magenta that started with the purple mohawks and the body piercings and the whole tattoos. Now other people are doing it, but magentas tend to be bizarre, outrageous, shocking loners. And then yellows, and you have yellow, sweetie. You got a lot of violet, but you've also got that yellow. And yellows at heart, see, that's the yellow. Yellows are big kids at heart. Violets are more serious. Okay, they got a big mission here. Yellows are big kids at heart. They got a sense of humor. They want to have fun. They want to play. If they had their way, yellows wouldn't be working at all. Yellows want freedom and fun. They're not always good with money. Violets want money. Yellows are like, I just want to be spontaneous and do what I want to do. Usually if yellows work, they either get into the creative fields. They're writers, artists, musicians, designers, something creative, or they get into the healing fields because you yellows are the best huggers and healers on the planet. You can heal people energetically. You can use your hands to know what's going on with somebody. That's a yellow. And or yellows get into the physical fields, like they're athletes or they're gardeners or something physical. Yellows, by the way, yellows can heal their own bodies. They have to watch. I'm spending more time on yellow because you've got it. Yellows are the most addictive personalities on the planet. They have to watch out for addictions. When they're happy, when they're in power, meaning the positive, they're full of optimism, fun, laughter, sense of humor, playful. They exercise. When yellows are out of power, meaning the negative side, they have to watch out for addictions. Yellows have to watch out for drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, caffeine, chocolate or sweets, overeating, gaming. They get very addictive, but that's their way of avoiding something they don't know how to deal with. So they avoid it by getting into those addictions. Yellows need nature. They need exercise. They're usually really good with dogs. They're big kids at heart. And by the way, yellows are nice people. They're pleasers. However, I've got yellow too, by the way. That's why I can play with you and laugh. Yellows have a stubborn streak to them. Yellows do not like being told what to do.
No.
You tell a yellow what to do, and they'll almost do the opposite just to prove you can't tell them what to do. And by the way, I was going to say yellows are good at healing their own bodies. However, the weak spots for yellows, if they're not happy, the weak spots are their backs, legs, knees, feet. It's structural, but it's usually the backs, legs, and knees and feet. Okay.
So let's talk about what I worked on at the chiropractor today.
Go ahead.
Back, legs, knees. I skipped Ed. He worked on my feet.
So anytime a yellow's got back issues, and I don't care, they go, well, I had a football injury, I had a car accident, I pulled it. No. Anytime a yellow has back issues, they're holding back. They can't move forward. They feel held back. Or they've got somebody on their back, including themselves, going, you should be, you should be, you should be. Because yellows don't want to grow up. And people yell at them and say, you got to grow up and be responsible. Okay.
I remember my mother saying that a lot.
Yeah. That's why yellows have back issues, is somebody's on their back or they're holding back. Knee and feet and leg stuff is the inability to be able to step forward in the future. Again, there, I can't. So those are you. All the tans together, different, but tans are logical, practical, analytical. They're the oriented people. They want practical. They want secure paychecks, jobs. They're the color work for the same company. I usually see them engineers, bookkeepers, computer programmer, anything that deals with details. They like the details and they like structure, and they're takers, and they'll do step 3, step in. What's funny with they're listening to a tan, because tans will tell the detail of the story. Violets are like, come on, what's the punchline? Come on, I don't want to hear all the details. I don't care about the detail. And violets usually want projects. These are the ones that have patience to take care of the details of those projects. Violets have to come and run the business, come up with the idea, and be the leader and visionary, and somebody else needs to do the technology. Want to have to figure out how to take that apart. And got it? Yeah. And then greens are the type A personalities on the planet. They're the workaholics, the CEOs, the salespeople. It's money, power, control. On the positive side with greens, they create jobs for people. They start businesses. On the downside, greens can be very self-centered, very greedy, very selfish. They don't care who they step on to get to, up on the corporate ladder. And they're very smart. They like to, and greens write lists. Okay. Violets try to write lists to keep organized, but yellows hate lists. So they get partway through the list and then they can't find it, or they'll leave it alone, or they won't finish it because yellows don't like lists. Greens write lists. Then they go back and check off what they've done on the list. Violets will do that sometimes just to try and stay organized, because violets multitask. You see how I keep jumping over to the violet every so often?
I'm noticing that, yes.
Yeah. Well, because you got violet, so I'm bringing you into the game here. Now, blues are the most emotional, loving caregivers. They are the teachers, counselors, and nurses. They give and give and give. They're very emotional. I'm a blue yellow, by the way. Okay, blues can watch commercials and cry. They cry when they're angry, when they're happy, when they're sad, for no reason at all because they watch something on TV. So blues are more emotional. Their priorities for a blue are love and spirituality. Every blue knew there was a God or a higher power ever since they were little. So their whole life is about their spirituality and love. Most blues have the Cinderella complex. It's all about love and relationship and home. And and by the way, blues are also the top of the list of being the most intuitive and psychic. They just know things. They don't know why they know it. The most psychic of all the aura colors are blues, violets, and indigos. Okay, those are the three most intuitive and psychic. So blues, it's all about giving, loving, and the blues in power trust their intuition, and they're always just unconditional love. When blues are out of power, see how animated I get with my hands? That's because you're yellow. That's a yellow thing. Yellows have a hard time sitting still unless they're doing addictions. So blues out of power get into victimhood, martyrdom, and self-pity. It's like, I gave to all those people and nobody took care of me for my birthday. So blues have to stay in power by staying connected with their spirituality. Then violets, sweetie pie. Violets are, I term it kind of the old souls of the planet. They're the visionaries. They come from the third eyes. They see things. They came here to do big projects. Violets do not like working for other people. They want to do their own projects. They're here to reach the masses. They're here to shift the consciousness. They want to educate, inspire, or empower. Blues are caregivers. They'll take care of people and rescue them. Violets will give advice. Because violets are some of the best advice givers on the planet. Go, hey, look, this is what I see. Why don't you do? And if the person comes back to them with the same problem over and over again, the violet's like, are you doing what we talked about in the first place? So violets are really good advice givers. They see things. When violets do work, it's typically either the media or the arts. So I see them being performers, radio people, speakers, musicians, actors. They get into the arts of the media because that's one way to reach the masses. They need to affect the masses, and they're leaders and visionaries. Or violets get into teaching, psychology, ministry. Again, something where they can impart wisdom and share. Violets are the communicators on the planet. Yellows get shy. They can be, or they're the life of the party. They're funny. But violets want to inspire. They want to make a difference. And if they're not making a difference, just so you know, violet is the #1 aura color to get depression. Okay. If violets don't feel like they're living their mission here because it's that big, they get depressed then violets get accused of being unrealistic dreamers because violet's vision is dreams are so big that people go, how are you going to do that? That's not logical. How are you going to make money doing that? How are you going to do that? But violets have to live their dreams or their visions or they get depressed. The other things violets get into are, and yellows don't usually like this, violets also can get into politics, law, or causes. They're global humanitarians is what they ultimately are. Violets usually want to go travel. Yellows have to watch out for procrastination. Violets have big dreams. Yellows don't want to work that hard. Okay. So it's like, And then indigos, Michael Jackson was indigo with violet. Indigos are the new age children. They tend to be very psychic, but the #1 thing with indigos is they tend to be androgynous. So I knew back in the 60s was the beginning of the violet age. The Beatles, the hippies, the peace movement. Okay, that's all violet energy. And so at the beginning of the era, people were killing violets. John and Robert Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King. Those were all violets. Gorbachev, Nelson Mandela, Maya Angelou, they're all violets. Oprah Winfrey, violet yellow. Okay, but back then in the 60s, they were killing violets because violets had a vision. They had a dream. And violets even talk in visual terms. We're not killing violets anymore. Now we need to hear from violets because violets have wisdom. They know, they see things. We hear from violets. Well, now we're shifted in indigo age, not that we're still in power. Indigos are the androgynous. They tend to be very sensitive. They feel like it's not about male or female, black, white, gay, straight, is why all the LGBTQ stuff is now. It's like not about gender. It's about soul to soul. That's how they live. They don't care if somebody's gay or straight. They want to connect soul to soul. They're psychic. They connect with children. They connect with nature. They can talk to trees. They're very, and you can't control them. A lot of indigos are being diagnosed as autistic now, unfortunately. So then we got the crystals. Crystals literally have clear auras. I call them the auric chameleons because they're supposed to keep their aura clear, but they can't be around a lot of people. Yellows, a lot of yellows think they're crystals because they're both sensitive, even though yellows can also be funny. Crystals are very deep. They can be intelligent, but they're very quiet, and they have clear auras. If they're around somebody else, they pick up the aura color of that person. So it's hard to identify crystals in my audience because if they're sitting next to a blue, their aura turns blue, and then I think they're a blue, right? But they have to, they're here to be healers, but they usually can only work on one person. Then they got to go meditate. They got to go sit in the garden. They got to be quiet. They can't be around a lot of people. But a lot of them get lost. They don't know who they are. So they're around people. If they're hanging out with the green, they start acting like a green and their aura turns green. If they're hanging out with the violet, they start acting like a violet and their aura turns violet. So it's a real interesting aura color. I don't see that many of them, but again, hard to know. And then there's lavenders. Lavenders are what we call they're so sweet. They're like children, but they're like fantasy oriented. They don't live in their bodies a whole lot. They daydream a lot. They're not very grounded. They're very fantasy oriented. They can talk about, and we need them, and we need all of these colors. We need all of them. They all have a purpose here. But lavenders are more fantasy. So they'll talk about fairies and angels and, just kind of, they're not good with money. They're not good with being on the physical earth because it's too hard. So usually I see a lavender with another color, like a lavender violet or a lavender blue. And then that other aspect of them can take care of it because lavenders are not usually good with money at all. C.S. Lewis had, believe it or not, he had lavender in his aura. So the fantasy thing, along with probably tan, I can't tell. I know he's got lavender with the fantasy, but there's tan in there for the mathematician. And then C.S. Lewis also had lavender in his aura. So they're supposed to be going into those other realms and bringing that information back and then creating either works of literature or art, something fantasy oriented. So those are the 14 aura colors that I see. You recognize some people that you know in some of those?
Well, many others, many of them, to be honest.
And they all have different life purpose. There's a reason. I believe that we all chose to come here to have different experiences. So the good news is once a person finds out what their aura colors are, it gives them permission to be who they are. They feel validated. It's like, yeah, I felt that way my whole life. I thought it was crazy. Like Blue's crying all the time. What's wrong with me? I go, you're blue. That's what Blues do. It's okay. So first of all, it helps people understand who they are. It gives them permission. It validates them. But it also helps us get along with each other instead of running around, especially greens and violets like to tell people what to do. Okay. And those two colors can get impatient when they're out of power and then people run around going, why can't you think more like me? Why can't you see this? Why can't you? It's like, oh, they're a crystal or they're a tan or a yellow. That's why it's okay. They get to be who they came here to be. Then we can get along better.
Well, hopefully, because it just works better that way. It really does.
That's the goal. And it helps with relationships. If you can imagine a yellow who likes to play and doesn't care really about money, is very creative, wants to be spontaneous, married to a green who's a workaholic, driven, you need to make money, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they don't get along really well unless they understand who they are. Then the yellow can be creative and the green can find out ways to help make money out of that.
Oh, you're so brilliant. So brilliant when it comes to this stuff.
Thanks.
And in the next hour, we're going to learn some more about what the meaning is, how these colors help us, how they don't. What we need to do. Maybe people that we should connect with, because Pam Oslie is one of the best out there when it comes to auras, intuition, consciousness, and everything in between. Her website, auracolors.com. I'm having so much fun with Pam tonight. I totally am. I think she might be having fun with us too. So let's just continue this radio show when we return on Spaced Out Radio with hour number 2. My name is Dave Scott. Always a pleasure to broadcast to you into the night. We'll be right back, everybody.
Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
Still having fun, Pam?
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
I want people to know that they can take the free course on my website and find out what their aura colors are. And then there's free videos and content and everything. They can go read about their aura colors or watch the videos.
Love it. Pam, I'm going to put you in the green room. We're got about 5.5 minutes. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Bye. Be right back. Old Davy's back. Old Davy's back. Let's bring Pam in here. Because she is Pam.
Dave, did you recognize the violet and the yellow?
Very much so. It scared me.
That's my job, to scare people.
Uh-huh. Hi, Sierra. Hi, Magnus for Magnuson. Who else has jumped in here? J Truth Seeker, nice to see you. Hi, Digger Dog. Good night to you. And we're caught up. We're caught up. All right. We got about 8 seconds. Thank you, Dave and Louie, for the super chats. Here we go, everybody. All right. We're racing off to hour number 2 tonight, learning about auras and intuition. Pam Oslie is our guest. We're going to continue with her momentarily, but first I want to say hello to everybody listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. Thank you for tuning us on in and digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Youndrift. Youndrift is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, Pam Oslie is here. Her website, auracolors.com. I'm loving this show. I am loving this one. It's a lot of fun. Pam, thank you for making tonight fun.
Yeah. Hey, and can I tell people that they can go to my website and take the free aura color quiz to find out what their colors are, and then watch the free videos, and there's free content, and there's courses and books. I got all kinds of stuff in there to help people know what their aura colors are. They just have to answer the questionnaire honestly, not who they think they're supposed to be or who their parents told them to be or any of that, who they feel they are inside so they can get their real colors.
Awesome. I love that you do it for free because so many people charge. So many people are looking to make a quick buck off people. And the fact that you're doing it for free to help people out, to make sure that people have that opportunity to find out who they are and what they're all about, I think that's admirable. Thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get right to the aura colors. That's what we were talking about momentarily last half hour. And you were breaking down all the aura colors, what they represent, what they mean. For you, can you tell from anybody? Is there anybody who can block what their aura color is?
I don't like to invade people's space. I can see the aura all the time. So people ask me if that makes me crazy, but I tell people, if you were walking down the main street of your city, everybody's wearing clothes, but you don't always choose to focus on what they're wearing. So I can block it out. I can tune into people. I mean, I've been doing psychic work for almost 40 years now. So somebody, you can tell, don't do it, but somebody could say, well, I need to know what my husband is or my wife is or my child is. So I can tune into them and tell them all about them, including their aura colors. Even people have crossed over. You'd say when they were in this lifetime, these were their colors. So yeah, it's hard to tell from photos because it doesn't always pick up the right photo. So I have to tune into them to see what it is. Same thing with TV. People start acting and then they add this aura color over their real colors. And then it's like, geez. So sometimes I can tell what they are, and other times, well, they're being a really good actor because they're overlaying the personality of that act, of that role over their aura colors. Plus, they use a lot of red and green on TV. So it's more challenging to see it. But yes, I can tell what people's aura colors are. Most of the time, do people block me? When I've seen somebody contracting, I leave them alone. That means they don't want to be messed with. And I don't tell people their colors unless they ask. I don't like to invade people's space.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's kind of impressive. That's kind of impressive that you do that. Outside of the aura colors, what else can you read off of people just by looking at them? A phone number or a picture or, their color of their eyes?
Well, again, Dave, I've been doing psychic work for a long time, so I use the aura as a tool, but that's not the only thing I can do. I can I can tell people's trauma from their past. And by the way, if people have a red overlay, that means there's a red band in their outer bands that they weren't born with. They've added it in their childhood, usually for protection if a person felt physically, mentally, or emotionally abandoned, rejected, or abused. They tend to add red in the outer bands for protection, and that needs to come off. It's good to have it as a youngster because it keeps you safe. But as the person gets older, it can be trouble. It can either cause self-sabotage or it can cause a lot of anger. And it can be serious. I mean, John Lennon had a red overlay. Steve Jobs had a red overlay, and you see what happened to them. So we want that to be gone. So, but I can see people's past. I can see their childhood. I can see where they're going. I mean, a lot of people would come to me and go, "Oh, my love life, and where am I going, or where should I live, or what do you see?" I can see their future. However, I always tell people I'm a big proponent of free will. I got yellow too. I don't like people telling me what to do. So when people would talk to me on the phone, on my radio show, in person, wherever it was, on the computer, I could tune in and see where they were headed. And if I saw something that, and I would share that with them, I go, if you stay on the same path you're on right now with your current beliefs, with your current trajectory, this is where you're headed. If you're not happy with that, like I've seen people headed for a divorce, or I've seen them headed to getting fired, or I've seen them headed to having health problems. I go, this is what's going on, and this is why you're headed that direction. This is the belief you're carrying around. This is the problem. If you shift that, if you heal that, or if you change it, that's never going to happen, and you can change your life onto a better path. I use the analogy, imagine that you're in a city and you're in a helicopter and you're flying above the city and your friend's in the car down below in a big city, say New York, whatever. And you see that they're on Fifth. I go, if you keep going that way, you're going to hit a traffic jam. So don't go down that way, turn right, go up 2 blocks, and then go, then proceed, because you can see where they're headed. A lot of people would listen to me, and a lot of stuff, most of the stuff that I saw coming actually happened. People come back and they'd go, you told me my daughter was going to move to Arizona, and she blah, blah, blah. And I went, no way in hell is she going to move to Arizona. She blah, blah, it's never going to happen. They came back to me years later and went, my daughter moved to Arizona, just like you said she was going to do, because that person stayed on the path that they were showing me. They have free will to change it. And that's what I always want people to feel empowered, and that they have free will. But most people, Dave, as you know, are making choices out of habit or unconsciously, or because they think they have to go that direction. So I love showing people that they have more power over their lives. They have more creative control over their lives. And if they believe differently, act differently, think differently, whatever it is, your whole life can change. So that's just one of the things I can do. I can talk to their loved ones on the other side. I had a lady come to me once. Now, people ask me if everyone has an aura. When I see somebody, their aura is faded, I know they're in trouble. They're about to not be on the planet anymore. And usually it's because somebody's got an illness that they're not going to survive. I went skydiving once, and everybody on the plane went, do I have an aura? Before I jump out of this plane, I was like, yes, you all have auras. So we all jumped out of the plane. Anyway, I had a woman come to me once, and her aura was extremely faded. And I went, oh no. So when I tuned into her, as I was tuning into her to find out what was going on, the spirit of this older man showed up next to her and kept trying to get my attention. I went, go away. I'm trying to talk to her. Leave me alone. Go away. He goes, no, I got to talk to her. I'm her husband. And I went, no, are you her father or something? No, I'm her husband, and I need to talk to her. And then he showed me a gun in his hand, and I went, oh no. So I went, did you lose your husband? And she burst into tears. They said, did he take his own life with a gun? And she just was sobbing. And he goes, I need to tell her why I did that, because he didn't leave a note. And she was so distraught that she thought she was the cause of his suicide. And he didn't leave a note. So he said, I need to let her know. I found out that I had Alzheimer's. I didn't want to live like that, because his whole life was about his intellect and how smart and professional he was. And he didn't want to live like that. She goes, yes, I know he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but I thought we had time. Well, he didn't want to live like that. So he told her, go to France, like we said, go spend time with the grandkids, like we said, go, gave her all these things to do. Go do the art classes that you really wanted to do. And as we were talking, her aura came back and she didn't commit suicide. So it can be really intense things like that. I mean, I have a gazillion stories, obviously. I've been seeing 6 to 8 people a day for almost 40 years. But so I can talk to people on the other side so that they can help their loved ones, or their loved ones can find out, how they are on the other side, so they find peace and happiness. I've helped, I don't like this part, but I've helped find missing persons. I really don't like that part. I had a call once on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, I don't remember now because it was a few years ago, from a client who said, our friends are missing, their plane went down. It was a 4-seater. We need your help to find the plane. It was a 4-seater. They had gone down somewhere in Panama. So when I tuned into the people on the plane, there was the pilot, the father's daughter, and her friend. And there were the two girls were 12 years old. I saw that the pilot had gone instantly. He died instantly. The daughter had died instantly. The father was alive for a little while, and he was talking to the surviving little girl. She was still alive. I go, and I knew which one it was. I go, you got to find them. They had crashed into the side of a non-active volcano. Jungle everywhere. When they finally found the plane, they found the little 12-year-old still alive, like I said. And she said, I thought I was hallucinating. I thought the father was talking to me for a while, but I think I was hallucinating. Anyway, so I've helped with search and rescue, but I don't like that part. It's really emotional. It's disturbing, especially when you see that the people aren't making it. So I can do that. Do you understand? It's like once you can do all this stuff, sweetie, it's expanded consciousness. The difference is I believe it's possible. So I was able to do those things, remote viewing and bending spoons and parallel universes. It's all quantum physics. So once you know you can do that, you can tap into anything. So I've done things like that. I've done things like affect the weather, which I believe we can all do. Remember, if my stories bore you, you just tell me. I can stop talking.
No, I'm absolutely enthralled right now. Please continue.
Okay. So I went to Hawaii once on vacation, and as the plane was landing on Maui, he said, well, it looks like you guys are going to have rain for a full week. And I went, no, not on my vacation. We are not having rain for a full week. So that night, I envisioned, so I don't know if I believe I went into a parallel universe, but I envisioned blue sky, beautiful, no rain, whatever. Got up the next morning, blue sky, no rain, grabbed my towel, went out. It was a condo complex kind of with a private beach, sort of.
Awesome.
Which is around it. So I went out there, put out my towel. It was awesome. Blue sky. I'm going, yeah, okay. See, the guy was wrong. Anyway, within an hour, all these people were coming through the bushes to come onto my little beach. It's like, that's okay. I can share it. This couple that was on their honeymoon, young couple, came up to me and they went, we have driven around this entire island. It is pouring rain everywhere but this beach. And we looked up and all you could see was blue sky. And they went, we don't understand how this is possible. We drove this island. It's raining everywhere but here. So it's when you figure out you can do this kind of stuff, it makes life so much more fun and so much more interesting. Those are just small samples of things that I've done over the last 40 years.
Nice. I love that about it. I love the fact when things like that can be manifested. Manifestation is one of those little perks that we have as humans that we definitely do not use enough, because I think a lot of times, I know at least in my situation, I'm always a what if kind of guy. I want this to happen, but what if it doesn't happen? And it's kind of the yin with the yang, and you don't even know you're self-sabotaging yourself.
Yeah. Well, if we get on the second half hour, Dave, if you want to, one of my favorite subjects to talk about is parallel universes. You want to know how to manifest really quickly? It's so amazing. I'll show you how to use parallel universes to change your life really quickly.
Oh, yeah. We're going to definitely do that. I had something else planned, but that's way more interesting. Way more interesting.
Most people don't talk about it. People talk about all kinds of stuff and spirits and guides and angels, all kinds of stuff, but hardly anyone's talking about parallel universes except for the quantum physicists. They're talking about it a lot more than people realize. Multiverse, we have it in our films. We've got Back to the Future. We've got Somewhere in Time, Sliding Doors, Frequency. And one of my favorites is the movie Yesterday. I don't know if you've seen that yet. It's all Beatles music. Great movie about parallel universes.
What makes manifestation so powerful?
What do you mean so powerful? What do you ask me?
Powerful in the fact that we do have the power within ourselves to make to make things happen.
Well,
Okay. Like I look at athletes. I mean, if you take any professional sport, less than 1% of those who play the game actually go on to be professional. What makes them more qualified or more adept to making that dream a reality than, say, the little kid who's 10 years old at the hockey rink, or the 8-year-old who wants to be a pitcher? Is it atmosphere? Is it belief system? Explain the manifestation.
yeah. If you listen, I mean, even people like Tiger Woods, he talks about he visualized the ball going where he wanted to go. That's Athletes say that a lot. They practice it in their consciousness first. They believe it. They see it. They sense it. They live it in their consciousness first, and then they go for it. Now, some people can say, well, it's because they worked really hard and they practice. I go, yeah, absolutely, that can work because they believe that's what it takes to do that. Other people, it's belief systems. I had a client once, she broke both her legs. She was in the hospital. She was a professional dancer, and she broke both her legs. And she was in the hospital for quite a while. She said every day she still visualized dancing and working out and doing her exercises. And when she came out, I think she was in there for a month, in rehab and everything for a month. She said when she came out, she hadn't lost any muscle mass. Everything was fine. And it's like she went on as if nothing actually happened, because she was doing it in her mind. And that's what they say in the placebo effect, that your consciousness doesn't know if it's real or you're just making it up. It just sees everything as this is real. So people that are successful have a belief. And again, there are those people that go, no, I'm successful because I worked my butt off to do it. That's still a belief. There are people that seem like they're almost overnight successes. I mean, there are famous actors that never took an acting class in their lives. It's like, well, I just knew, I just felt it. And people that win the lottery, they go, I just knew I was going to do it. I knew it. So it has it has everything to do with our beliefs, our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions. That's how we manifest. It's our imagination. That's why Einstein said, imagination is more important, more powerful than knowledge, because what we think we know can limit us. Our imagination is infinite, it's unbounded. We can create anything that way. We stop ourselves because of the beliefs, the way we've been taught of what's possible and what isn't. Somebody told me I couldn't do something. It's like, oh yeah, watch me. So I was one of those that always wanted to go outside the boundaries because I didn't like being enclosed.
Well, I can see that. I can see that for sure. With the fact that we have really control of our own destiny, and probably in the meantime, our own worst enemies at the same time. You can put the blame on everybody else, but 90% of the time it's probably internal that's causing you more strife than anything. How do we change that in order to manifest more positivity, to see that positive outcome happening, rather than, and being thankful, even if you fail, being thankful for the opportunity? We seem to have lost that.
Well, some people have. The bottom line is, one, it's all choice. It's choice. People think they don't have choice. So at first I want people to know, in my experience, in my belief system, in my experience of doing this for so many years and talking to beings on the other side, talking to souls here, you chose to come to this planet and you had a theme. You had an idea of what you wanted to do, who you wanted to meet, the things you wanted to learn, the things you wanted to experience, where you wanted to go, what kind of fun you wanted to have. You had an idea what you wanted to do when you came here, an overall theme. And you still have free will when you're here. You can choose not to do it. You can choose some of the details in there. You can go off path. You can have fun. So in order to shift your life so that it aligns with what makes you happy and fulfilled, First of all, you need to know you have choice. It's amazing, Dave, how many people think they don't have any choice. One of the things I want to see change, and I can get into it too. I can get into the stories. We're really good storytellers, and we get addicted to our dramas and our stories. We're that kind of being. We love stories. That's why we create TV and movies and books. I mean, we love stories. But we get very addicted to them. And so many people think they don't have choice. So what I'd like to see changing is the victim consciousness, the victim consciousness, the blame. When we start owning responsibility for our own choices, it's not blame. It's not being hard on ourselves, which is what we've learned how to do. It's like, if you created that, you can create anything. So I'd love to show people that we have choices, that we can change how we're thinking, we can change how we're feeling, and our emotions align with our thoughts and our beliefs. Whatever emotion's coming up is attached to it. It's an immersion. It emerges from your thoughts and beliefs. So if you're not feeling happy, take a look at what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and change it. I have a whole book out called Make Your Dreams Come True, where I made it all for people with games in it. It's all fun and it's games, because I want yellows and blues and violets especially to get it. But it shows, I play games to help people see what their hidden beliefs are. And then I show them how to change those, how to shift. And people think it's hard to believe but it's really not unless you believe it's hard. It doesn't have to be hard. So number one, it's choice. And then the second one, Dave, is practice. We've learned everything by practicing. Okay, we learned how to walk, talk, eat, drive, write by practicing. So practicing shifting of beliefs and seeing the positive out of it. Those games in my book are really fun. And it really helps people go, oh my gosh, you're right. I do believe that. I didn't even realize I believed that. If you want to know what you believe, take a look at your life. It's a reflection of your beliefs. And you can't argue with somebody's beliefs, because when you have a belief, you gather evidence to support that belief. You ready for that? Want to play a game real quick, Dave? We got a few minutes, right?
We got 90 seconds.
Okay, really quick. Everybody, look around your room right now. Look around where you are and notice everything that you see that's blue. Okay, everything that's blue right now, okay? Really, really pay attention. Really look around, okay? Close your eyes. We have to do this fast. You can do this later at your own pace. Close your eyes. Now, with your eyes closed, remember everything that you just saw that was blue. Keep your eyes closed. No cheating. Remember everything that you just saw that was blue. Okay, got it? Open your eyes. Look around the room. Look around. See if you missed anything. Did you miss anything that was blue even the first time? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Dave. And now everybody close your eyes again. Now, no cheating. With your eyes closed, remember everything you just saw that was yellow. Don't open your eyes. With your eyes closed, remember everything you just saw that was yellow. Okay, open your eyes and look around. Look around, see if you missed anything that was yellow. Dave, you're even. Okay, now here's the deal. The yellow was around you the whole time. I mean, you got a lot of yellow behind you too, Dave. The yellow was around you the whole time, but you didn't notice it because you didn't have an agenda going on to look for yellow. You had an agenda to go look for blue, so you spotted all the blue. You didn't notice the yellow, that you didn't have an agenda going on to look for yellow. So when people go, my life sucks, everything always sucks, I never have any money, nothing ever works out for me, they have an agenda going on to just see that. So they gather evidence to support that. You start shifting, looking for something else, intentionally choosing to look for something else, and you'd be amazed how much you can see that.
Pam Oslie, we have her till the top of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio. We will be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear.
Are you having fun?
I'm having a blast.
I have to make sure yellows are having fun. That's what we're all about. Is we want to be spontaneous and have fun and do what we want to do when we want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Damn yellow. Let's see. There's a happy face there. Yellow on that picture. Yellow behind me. Yellow right here. Yellow
Mhm.
on my screen. Oh, yellow up on that picture up there.
See what happens when you have an agenda going on?
Yes.
But see, that's a fun little game, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of those.
That was fun. What did you want to do in the next half hour?
Parallel universes.
Yes, parallel universes.
It's so fascinating, Dave. I'm telling you, people that's the biggest topic people want to know about right now because they haven't heard about it, and it's so intriguing, and it's really fun when you get to see how they work.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And you met one of you, a version of you, another you in a parallel universe. It's like, stop going to the negative ones. Start going to some of the fun ones, or the empowered ones, or the successful ones.
I've never really been there. Never really been there.
Choose it. Ask for it.
Right?
You said that you're powerful. You can do anything, and I totally believe that.
Oh, yeah, I know. My problem is finding the time.
No. Let me warn you something else about us yellows. We are really good at coming up with excuses.
Unfortunately, mine's not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
I am up at 7:00 every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I then hit my sleep button for another 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, if it's summertime, like now, I don't get my son ready for school. But if it's regular, I have to get ready for work. I'm at work for 9, get home. I literally have an hour and a half to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm in the studio until 1:00 in the morning.
I'll tell you how long it takes to do this. 5 minutes.
Okay.
And you're relaxing for an hour doing what? Being happy with yourself? No, going, I'm so exhausted. I don't like this. And I got so much to do. When you learn how to do this, you can do it actually in 60 seconds.
All right. We'll do it. We'll do it in the next half hour. Like a zombie. Like a zombie.
And you don't have to do it.
Oh, I'll do it.
No, that's how you get a yellow to do something. We yellows don't like being told what to do. So if I tell a yellow don't do it, then there's like, what? If I go, no, Dave, you don't have to do it. Just stay doing what you're doing right now for the rest of your life. How's that feel?
No.
That's when a yellow goes, no, I don't want to do that. And then they'll start doing it differently.
I know what you're saying.
That's how you get a yellow to move forward. What you do to get a violet to move forward is you go, if you get to the end of your life and you haven't done some of the things that you've been dreaming of and wanting to do, you get to the end of your life and you haven't done it, you'll go, what was I so afraid of? I wonder what would have happened if I would have. What if I just really gone for just violets? That's the worst thing you say to them is if you get to the end of your life and you haven't full out gone for it, you'll have regrets. You'll wonder what was I afraid of? What was the problem? Unless you slip into victimhood, which we got to get out of.
Oh yeah.
And if I talk too much, you just tell me. I can be quiet.
No, you're not talking that much at all. I'm just enthralled right now.
Good. There's so much more.
Oh yeah. We have about 1 minute.
I got to spend hours with David Deutsch, who is a world-renowned quantum physicist whose expertise is parallel universes. I asked him questions he couldn't answer.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bear with me here. So we got a big thank you to Forrest Louie and to Aloha Dave for the super chats. Greatly appreciate those tonight. And reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show, our archives are free. And you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? Because we do not have ugly swag. No ugly swag there. You can check it on out for free. And then go get something for yourself. Like an I Am Pam t-shirt. I Am Pam. 1 second. We got 5 seconds here. All right, let's kick off the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you tuning us all in. And I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, or tune us in and download for free on any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot and read the Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. From auracolors.com, best-selling author, award winner, Pam Oslie is with us. We're having a great time tonight, and now we're going to get into dimensions. Dun, dun, dun. Dimensions. How many dimensions are you living in? You know, I imagine a dimension, if I were to play it by Dream World, where old Davy is sitting, well, not sitting, standing in right field of Yankee Stadium, waiting for a fly ball to come. Because as much as I'm a hockey guy, I love baseball. I love playing baseball. And there's not enough fighting in hockey anymore, so I'm thinking of retiring. Pam, welcome back.
No more fighting, Dave. We got enough of that out there.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. True story. I hate fighting. I do. I don't watch UFC. I like wrestling. Okay, but I don't watch boxing. But you know what the best part of a hockey fight is? In 30 seconds, it's over.
Okay.
And I've never had a better stress relief than dropping the gloves to this day. But
Cool.
That's for another topic another time. Dimensions. We're living in a bunch of them at the same time, you say?
Parallel realities, parallel universes. This is physics. It's quantum physics. I've actually met with one of the most renowned quantum physicists, David Deutsch, and talked to him for hours about parallel universes. They can call them the multiverse, whatever. And they argue about what they look like, but I know which ones I experience. So I'm going to describe them in parallel in lay terms, but they're going to sound really bizarre. But remember, it's going to sound like science fiction. But remember, a lot of things that we once called science fiction are now science fact. Okay, flight, cell phones, sliding doors, satellites, space travel. That was all science fiction. It's now science fact. So, parallel universes, the multiverse. You are an infinite number of parallel universes. Now I'm going to describe what they're saying, and then I'm going to put it in lay terms so it's easy to understand. It said every time you make a choice, a decision to do one thing and not the other, there's an actual you that goes off and does this one over here to the left, and another you, an actual you that goes off and is living that one to the right. So, for example, they said there's a universe where the Germans won the war and we're all speaking German now. There's a you that married somebody you knew in high school. There's a you that never got married at all. There's a you that's got 5 kids. There's a you that doesn't have any kids. Every time you make a choice, there's an actual you that's living that. But we think there's only one universe, just like we thought there was only one continent, one planet, one solar system, one galaxy. And now they know that there's multiple of those, infinite number of those. Now they know there's an infinite number of universes. So in lay terms, it's like this. Right now, Dave, in the room you're in right now, and anybody that's listening, and I know this sounds weird, but I use them, so I know they're real. And people don't have to, I tell people, argue for your limitations and they're yours. People don't want to do this. It's totally okay. It's your choice. It's your life this lifetime. You get to do what you want. But in the room you're in right now, Dave, there's at least 10 radio stations broadcasting around you. And those radio waves are in the room right now with you, but you're not aware they're there because you're not tuned into the frequency. So if you went to your tuner and set it to 101, you're going to hear the program that's coming out, the music, the talk. That becomes your reality because you're tuned into that frequency. It's part of you now. It's your reality. If you go now and go change it over to 107, now you're going to hear the talk, the music, the program that's coming out of 107. That becomes your reality. Now 101 is still playing around you. You're not aware of it because you're not tuned into that frequency. So this is how it's working. That's why the law of attraction, attracting by frequency, and the frequency is based on your imagination, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions. Your emotions are energy in motion. So when you use your imagination and it shifts your energy, your emotions, you actually tune into a different parallel universe. You're doing it all the time, but we don't know we're doing that because there's no barriers. Just like there's no barriers, there's no walls between the radio stations. It's just a different frequency. So every time you make a different choice, you actually went into a parallel universe. Now, I'm going to tell you there's two really profound, but I'll choose one that I typically do because the other one is really outrageous. When I first learned about parallel universes, this is how I used it the very first time I did it. I met this guy, musician, fell in head over heels in love with him. I went, oh my gosh, that's my guy. That's who I'm supposed to be with. I just felt a connection. He wanted nothing to do with me. First of all, way yellow. Yellows have a commitment issue. Okay. It's like, I don't want to get married, growing old, getting bored. I don't know. Violets are romantic, so they're okay with it, but yellow's not. Anyway, he wanted nothing to do with me. I live in Santa Barbara. He moved to the East Coast to be in a band there. Said he wanted nothing to do with me. Leave me alone. I'm not even attracted to you. I don't like blondes. I like dark hair. Boom, moved away. I was devastated. 2 years later, I started learning about parallel universes, and I went, hey, anytime we find out something like this, we should be able to use it to benefit ourselves, just like aerodynamics. We didn't know aerodynamics was a real thing. Once we discovered it was a real thing, now we can fly. Now we can go across the country in hours instead of stagecoaches and horses, taking months. So I went, all right, I'm going to use this. I'm going to experiment with it. I went into a meditation. I imagined myself, I'm going to call it universe number one. So in universe number one, I noticed in that universe, I didn't feel attractive. I didn't feel loving. I lovable. I didn't feel like he ever wanted to be with me. I didn't feel like it was ever going to happen. I didn't have good feelings about myself or the situation. So I went, all right, I'm going to go into universe number two. I looked around in my imagination. I imagined going through this membrane. You don't have to do that, but I did that because it made it feel more real to me. I imagined opening up a membrane, stepping into a different universe. I looked around. No, he was on the East Coast still. He was seeing some girl. He was happy with the band. I would feel guilty pulling him away from that. So I didn't stay in that universe. I kept going to another one and another one and another one. I'm going to call it universe number 5. I went into that one. Dave, I could feel the sun on my body. I could feel the grass. I could feel it on my skin. I knew it was a real universe, just as real as the one, universe number 1. It was very real. I looked around. I observed that one. In that one, I saw him giving notice to the band. I saw him breaking up with whatever girl he was seeing at the time. I saw him going to Iowa to see his meditating friends. I saw him going to LA to see his rock and roll friends. And he was coming back to Santa Barbara, and we were going to be together. It was so real. I could feel it. So I was like, wow. And then I came out of the meditation. It only took like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know. I was lost, so I don't know how long it was, but it was short. 2 weeks later, I finally called him up. I hadn't talked to him for like 2 years. I called him up. Why wouldn't I? I knew he missed me. He was in love with me. In that one, we were going to be together. So I called him up and I go, hey, how you doing? What have you been up to? And he said, well, 2 weeks ago, I gave notice to the band. I'm going to stop seeing this girl. I'm going to Iowa. I'm going to LA, and I'm coming back to Santa Barbara. And we have now been together for 40 years.
Wow.
40 years. We've been hanging out together. Now, I didn't stalk him. I didn't change him. I didn't convince him. I changed into a different reality. And in that one, I felt lovable. I felt like he missed me. I knew we were going to be together. Now, here's the weird thing. In universe number 1, all my girlfriends were single and they were complaining about it. They wanted to be married. They wanted to have kids. They were complaining there was no guys. When I shifted over to universe number 5, they were all with guys. They were engaged. They were getting married. They had kids. It's like, oh my gosh. And 40 years ago, I wanted to go up to them and go, hey, in another universe, you were single. In this one, you're happily getting married. But I thought they'd think I was crazy, so I didn't say anything. Now I'm telling people this is how it works.
If you're hearing the siren in the background, SOR headquarters is by the volunteer fire hall, and they are just being called out right now. That's twice in like 4 hours or less, 3 hours. Hope there's no fires around here. It is fire season around here, you know.
Yeah, no, we have them all down here now.
Yeah. Anyways, I love that story about how you were able to manipulate the universe to put a hook through the nose of your husband.
No, I changed me. I changed my thoughts, I changed my beliefs about me.
You had a voodoo doll where you were poking pins into the other girl, so she had to leave, and then you're like, he's mine, universe, he's mine.
No, Dave, but I also changed my perception and my beliefs about him. I changed beliefs about me and I changed my perception of him, because over here I believe certain things about him, over here I didn't. And that's only one of the profound ones. The other one that I had is beyond like mind-blowing. But we changed. I mean, we've got movies out there showing us. I mean, and look at The Matrix came out, and I mean, there's all kinds of things that we're capable of doing. So people can, you know what, you can go to YouTube and Google quantum. What's his name? It's Fred Allen Wolf, Dr. Quantum, and put in double slit experiment, so you can see how they have evidence that parallel universes are real, and we affect our own reality with our thoughts and our beliefs. And that's the experiment that they did to prove, to have evidence about parallel universes. And then if people are interested, they can look up Hugh Everett. He's the one that saw that there were multiverses, that light is both a particle and a wave. And then they think that it collapses when there's an observer into just one particle. So there's only one universe. And Hugh Everett went, no, all those other universes still exist. We're only focusing on one. So we only experience one, but they're all going on simultaneously. I have so many stories I could tell you, Dave. Oh my gosh. Even people have had near-death experiences. When they go to the other side and then they come back, 90% of them say, you know, when I went over there, I saw all my other lives happening simultaneously. So there's no time over there.
No, that's the hard one to understand for me.
Yeah.
Is the fact that there is no reality.
You can imagine there's lots of TV shows going on simultaneously, right? And all you have to do is change the channel and you can have a different movie going on. It's the same thing. They're all going on at the same time. You're just watching one TV show at a time. Same principle, same thing.
All right. Questions from the audience coming for you.
Okay.
Vanessa wants to know, what if we are a certain aura color and it isn't flattering on us? Should we wear our aura colors or nah?
That doesn't matter. It's so funny how many people used to come see me and they were wearing their aura colors that day. They go, I never wear purple. I don't know why I wore it today. And I go, because you're a violet. So you were making sure I knew that. No, you don't have to wear your aura colors. You can, if it helps you remember that you're a certain color, you can put it in your environment to remind you of it, but it doesn't matter if you wear them or not. You wear what you like, what you feel good in.
Let's go to Shelley. What does it mean or why some see within the clouds, or why some see within the clouds? Not sure how to explain. I don't understand that question. So let's not. Shelley, get back to us on that one. Let's go to necessary dialogue. How do I find my color?
Yay, thank you for bringing that up. You can go to my website, auracolors.com, but it's AURA colors, COLORS. In other words, the American version, not the European or British version. Auracolors.com. There's a free quiz. And then you can watch the videos, the free videos. Go to the beginner's course. They're all free videos. You can watch the video about your aura colors. You should test for 2. Just answer the quiz honestly, not what you think you're supposed to say. Okay, so auracolors.com, there's a free quiz. And I have books out, there's all, and it has a quiz in there too, whatever you want to do. But I have a ton of information about every single one of those aura colors. You just saw a little version of what I know about those colors.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Sierra for a pair. Can you see aura colors through computer screens?
Most of the time, yes. Again, sometimes the color, it's not true color often in computer screens either. So usually what I'll do is I'll tune into a person. Like some screens, it's like, okay, they look like a blue and a violet, but when I tune in, they really are a blue and yellow who's added violet, that kind of stuff. So yes, I can.
Follow up from Sierra. Pam, she already answered that one. Only need to ask the same question once, people. Let's go to the Doug Shelby.
Oh, and so people, I did this on my radio show. I don't have to see a person. I can tune into them and know what their colors are. It's expanded consciousness. So I don't have to see the person in a photo, on the computer, or in person. I do it over the phone. I don't do it anymore because I'm on to new things. But once you're unlimited, you're unlimited. You can do all kinds of stuff.
The Doug Shelby is asking, heard the other day that all the ladies in the Manson family were under the power of Charlie, like sexually. They couldn't resist him. Is this possible?
Sure. Look at how many people give away their power. They follow leaders just blindly just because they want somebody to tell them what to do. So I don't think it was a hypnosis thing. They chose. They were enamored by him. They wanted to be around his charisma. They wanted to be around his power. So they chose to give up their own power to be around him. They chose it. We're not helpless beings, you guys. We can pretend we're helpless, but we're not. We can choose to pretend that we're helpless, but we're not.
All right. That's all the questions I have for our audience right now. For you, as you are kind of sailing off into the sunset with your psychic career and everything, do you continue to get drawn back into it because of family, friends, or whoever else? Or does spirit come up and knock on your door in the middle of the night and said, hey, Pam, we need to talk?
First of all, yes, I have a lot of people asking me. Most of the time I go, and I really mean this, you guys, please hear this. You have your own answers inside. You have your own answers. All you have to do is listen. And that's one of the hardest things we've got going on, Dave, especially in the Western society. We've got so much, attention getting, social media and media and activities and so much going on. We don't know how to get quiet. But if people could learn how to just be still and listen inside, they have their own answers. So they don't need people like me. And by the way, there's plenty of other people out there that are psychic, intuitive. They can go to them. But please learn how to get your own answers. You got to learn. You don't have to do anything. I take that back. It's beneficial to listen to your own soul's guidance or higher power more than other people until you get strong enough to listen to yourself. Just practice that.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned earlier that practice doesn't take a long time. People like me complain a lot about how very little time that we have, or in a day. I'm not saying in life, I'm saying in a day here. So I'm curious, how long does it take to get into that mindset? How long does it take, or how long should it take to meditate? What's your thoughts?
Okay, there's no shoulds. Everybody's different, and it has to do with your beliefs. When I was doing workshops, and a lot of my workshops are on my website still. People can go take my workshops and learn how to do all of this stuff. I've got e-courses. Anyway, people at the courses used to say, "Guy, I love doing meditations with you or these exercises with you because you make them quick and simple. It's not this, okay, we got to sit in quiet for an hour and then we got to bring this in." It's like, it has everything to do with your beliefs. Now, we all have our excuses. What I notice is if I'm afraid of something, I will make up an excuse of why I can't do it or why I don't have time to do it. I can do the same thing, Dave. But remember, I was seeing 6 to 8 clients a day and doing a radio show and writing books and doing workshops and traveling around the country doing media interviews live on television in New York. I was doing all of that. So it's choice. It's what we make as a priority. And I don't put anybody down. I have my things that I run away from. I have my things that I avoid. It's like, I don't have time for that, or I don't feel like doing that. And I go, okay, what are you afraid of? Or what are you not ready to do? And I don't beat myself up for it anymore. I go, just not ready to do it. You can meditate in 5 minutes. You can meditate in an hour. Everybody's different, but it's connected with what you believe. One of my favorite things to say, or one of my sayings, Dave, is if you think something is separate from you, because there's no time really, then it has to take time to get to you. If you know it's already here, if you know you already have it, it doesn't take any time.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. We have you for another 3 minutes here. And I'm just saying that I think that it's absolutely incredible how the mind works and what the mind can do to help, alleviate a lot of the pressures, a lot of the feelings that we have that, bust our butts on a daily basis. What advice do you give to people who say suffer from depression, anxiety, or bipolar disorder in order to try and regain control of their mind and use the beauty of it instead?
What I believe, what I've experienced is we suffer depression, anxiety, fear, whatever it is, for two reasons only. One, we've forgotten who we are. So the big thing is learning how to remember who you are, which are these amazing, profound, miraculous beings that have we're infinite, we have power. And I've studied all this stuff, I've practiced it, I've learned it. So the reason we suffer is either one, we've forgotten who we are and we've forgotten that we're creating this, okay? Or two, we've chosen to have some experiences for the experience. We came here to feel things, to have experiences, to get angry, to be in love, to taste ice cream, to travel. I mean, whatever it is, we are choosing to have experiences. And sometimes we choose challenges to see who we are and what we can overcome. So go, wow, I did that. I overcame that. We go to the gym or we race or we play games. Wow, I did that. I accomplished it. So we're choosing to have experiences, just like some people choose to go to horror movies or to go to war movies. I don't choose those. That's not the kind of thing, but they choose it because they like how it feels. I just went to a fair. Oh my gosh. And people were on these rides. I went, oh my gosh, why are they going on those rides? I mean, they look terrifying to me, but they like the thrill of it. So we either forgotten who we are or we're choosing to have the experience so we can go at the end, go, wow, I had all those experiences and look what I did. So if you can see it that way and remember those two things, people get into depression because they feel like they don't have power, because they feel like they can't live what they're here to live, or they've forgotten who they are, so they don't even know what their purpose is. But there is a way to get out of it. It's still choice. It's still choice. And if somebody's chosen to have a mental issue, mental illness in this lifetime, I trust their soul knew what it was doing. They wanted to have that experience to see what it was like, because they've had other lifetimes where they were kings or, royalty, or they were, whatever it was, or they were happy and fulfilled. And this one, they wanted the extra challenge. I trust people's souls know what they're doing.
I totally agree. 25 seconds left. I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight, Pam. It was an educated show, a fun show, and I think you enlighten and open up our eyes to a lot of what the power of our mind can do to adjust our future for a more positive. And thank you for allowing our listeners and everybody out there to go to your website, auracolors.com, to check out what Aura Colors they are for free. I love it.
Courses. I've got a Quantum Leap course, you guys. It teaches all of this stuff.
Pam Oslie, everybody, coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, Steve Stockton. Then Robin Haynes will be here with the Crypted Report. Let's kick off hour number 3 next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear. And Pam, remember, you are Pam.
I hope that I answered the questions that you asked.
You were amazing.
Very good.
For doing this. I know you don't do a lot of these anymore,
Yeah, I
but
don't.
thank you for doing this. That meant a lot to me.
Good. Well, thanks for having fun and thanks for asking awesome questions so I could talk that big. I appreciate
Love
it.
it. Love it.
All
You go
right.
enjoy the rest of your night.
You too. Have a good
Take
sleep.
care. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I love her. I love her. She's amazing. She's amazing. I'll be right back, everybody. Hi, Jason Pearl. All right, I'm back. Did you miss me? Hi, Robin Haynes. I can't hear you yet, honey. All right. Oh. We got 30 seconds. Thank you to Aloha, Dave, and Forrest Louie for our lone super chats tonight. Always appreciate you. Thank your generosity. Thank you. And here we go, everybody. Kicking off the final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's jam-packed, so make sure you're ready for all the good stuff we're going to bring you here. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. If you want to download us for free, you can do that. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. And what do you got for us tonight, Clam? Well, let's take a quick look here. It is Youndrift. Youndrift is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. It's that time of the night we say hello to Steve Stockton, who brings in another creepy story for us to tune on in.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Now, there are few unsolved mysteries in history that have captured the public's imagination as intensely as the case of the Zodiac killer. This shadowy figure struck fear into the hearts of Northern California residents during the tumultuous late 1960s and early 1970s. He left behind a trail of blood and cryptic messages, earning him a notorious reputation as a symbol of the dark underbelly of the counterculture era. Decades later, his true identity and motives continue to elude investigators, adding to the allure and terror surrounding this infamous killer. The mere mention of his name still sends chills down the spines of those who remember his violent rampage. The Zodiac's reign of terror officially began on a cold, dark December night in 1968. The peaceful town of Benicia, California, was forever scarred by the brutal demise of high school students David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. As they sat parked on a secluded road, enjoying each other's company, they were suddenly and violently attacked at close range. It was a tragic and senseless act that shook the community to its core. But as the days turned into months, it became clear that this was no isolated incident. The killer's chilling calling card, a cryptic letter sent to the San Francisco Chronicle, arrived with a menacing message claiming responsibility for the crime and threatening even more violence to come. And so began a terrifying game of cat and mouse between law enforcement and an elusive psychopath who reveled in taunting his pursuers and instilling fear in the public. The streets were quiet, but the fear was palpable as everyone waited for the next move from the infamous Zodiac killer. Over the next 2 years, the Zodiac would strike again and again, his evil actions leaving a trail of terror across Northern California. Hunting for vulnerable couples in remote and secluded locations, he would unleash his brutal attacks without mercy. His victims, chosen seemingly at random, were subjected to unspeakable horrors. Shot, stabbed, and left for dead. The killer's twisted sense of power only grew as he continued to elude capture, taunting authorities with chilling letters to newspapers. In these letters, He boasted of his crimes and included mementos from his victims, pieces of their clothing as proof of his twisted deeds. The fear and panic spread like wildfire throughout the community, as no one knew when or where the Zodiac would strike next. Amidst all the fear and panic, the Zodiac killer's love for intricate ciphers only added to the terror. His cryptic messages, filled with hidden meanings and taunting hints at his identity and future plans, were a constant source of dread for the public. Though some of these codes were eventually cracked, revealing chilling messages and violent threats, others still remain unsolved to this day, their secrets lingering just out of reach, like an elusive puzzle waiting to be solved. Despite a massive manhunt, the investigation into the elusive and enigmatic Zodiac killer's identity proved frustratingly fruitless. Like a shadow in the night, he slipped away from every lead and evaded capture with ease. Numerous suspects were investigated, their lives torn apart under the microscope of suspicion, but no concrete evidence ever emerged to definitively point to the killer's true identity. And, as time passed, the case went colder and colder until it was nothing but a distant memory. The killer, it seemed, had vanished into thin air as quickly as he had appeared, leaving behind a haunting legacy of fear, unanswered questions, and a chilling reminder that sometimes even the most notorious criminals can slip through the cracks and remain forever shrouded in mystery. The infamous Zodiac killer has left an indelible mark on popular culture, his name whispered in fearful tones and his deeds immortalized in countless books, documentaries, and feature films. This elusive figure, responsible for a string of unsolved murders, continues to captivate the public's imagination. Despite the passage of time and the tireless efforts of amateur and professional sleuths alike, the true identity and motives of the Zodiac killer remain shrouded in mystery, leaving behind a haunting legacy of terror and unanswered questions.
Thank you, Steve Stockton, for another great story. If you want more, head on over to youtube.com/Tales Untold, and you can get it right there. From the missing to the mysterious. Cryptid Report time. Here's Robin Haynes. All right, Robin Haynes, it's good to have you back. And
yeah, how are you, sweetheart?
well, you know, I'm still puzzled over what happened here about a week and a half ago. Coming up 2 weeks ago now. And it's been very interesting to see, the entire team's kind of reaction to what's going on after being chased out of the forest by Sasquatch.
Well, you got to escort it out. I mean, it could have been much worse. They were cautious about what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But now, when I was talking to them, they didn't come off that they were pissed. I mean, they weren't mad. It was just a little bit of a different situation for them, and it made them uncomfortable.
What made them uncomfortable? Because for the first couple nights there, they were silent. And
yeah, they were just watching.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what happened there? What did we do?
Well, I think if I remember correctly, you guys had brought a Ouija board.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I'm not, and for anybody that uses them, I know people that do use them. I am not knocking any way that anybody, does their research or anything like that. So please don't take it that way. What I do know is that in my experience, when you bring something like a Ouija board, which seems like it would be harmless enough because you're trying to get communication. That's what you're trying to do. And I know people that have used them and gotten communication. But when you go back and you actually look at what a Ouija board does, it connects with the other side, and a lot of various things can come in it. And these are a type of people that are very, very protective of their own. And if something were to come in while they're trying to communicate with you through that Ouija board, because that thing is kind of like an open doorway, it cannot be safe for their clan, because you don't know what kind of entities are going to come in or what kind of spirits are going to come in. So that's the first thing that kind of sets them off. They are insisting, now whether or not this is true, I don't know. They were not so much concerned with you, but there was somebody else there that had a weapon that they claim they think is a weapon. And, I assured them that it was not for them. And that made them a little nervous. So it was just kind of like a lot of little things, not anything big. I never felt like they were going to try to hurt you. If they were going to try to hurt you, you would have gotten hurt, because they don't mess around. They do it or they don't. But I think they were just very, very curious as to what the intent was. And that was more of the issue. And so, when it came time, they were very happy to escort everybody out. I think the first 2 nights, there was only a couple of them there that were kind of scouting and kind of watching you guys to see really what was going to transpire. By the 3rd night, they got a little bit weirded out. And if I remember correctly, you guys left to go charge batteries and phones, correct?
Correct.
So now you leave. They think that you've gone. They think you're done. So any danger, anything that they have to be concerned about, that's gone too. But then you came back. And I really feel like when you came back, there were more of them there than there was when you were there the first 2 days. And one of them was also one of the kids. There was an adolescent there, but there was a younger child. That's a whole different ballgame. Okay, so where a Ouija board, camera people, or whoever you had there was tolerated the first 2 nights, they just kept a close eye on it. That child was not there until the 3rd night. So now you're back in an area with one of their children, and you've got that Ouija board there. They were very upset by that Ouija board because they didn't know what it was going to do. One of the kids was there, and that completely changes everything. That's a whole different playing field.
Just for a reminder, it was only out for a couple minutes, and then we got bad vibes from it, so we took it out.
Right, exactly. Like what you guys were doing, you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, let's be clear. You didn't do anything harmful. You didn't do anything disrespectful. You didn't do anything wrong. And for people that use those type of things, I am not knocking them at all. Okay? I personally don't, for the reasons that I just described. That doesn't make it right or wrong. Okay? That doesn't mean that people that do use them are in the wrong. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that it depends on the group as to how well it's received. In that group, they received it well the first couple nights, if it was around. If not, they were just more studying you guys the first couple nights.
Yeah, it only came out on night 3.
Yeah, and it kind of spooked them. Now, another group that did not have a child there probably wouldn't have bothered them. They would have watched it, just kept an eye on it to see what would happen. But just like you just said, it kind of, made you a little nervous, so you shut it down. If it made you nervous, can you imagine what they picked up? They're so much more in tune than we are.
Oh, understandable. And yes, Mark was armed, but we made it very clear throughout the investigation that it was not for them.
Right. And they didn't say that it was. They were just very much aware of the situation that it was there, which they've known that you've had somebody armed there before, and it's not been a problem. Now, I guess my question is Mark there often?
He's usually with me when I go there.
Yeah, so they should have been familiar with it. I don't know why that kind of triggered them. They didn't say that they thought it was for them. I think it was the combination of that being there and the Ouija board, because that seemed to be the primary focus with them.
Right.
And I just think that if you were picking up things intuitively that it felt a little off, and so you felt it best to shut it down, which was the right thing to do, as in tune to things that they are, and at that higher frequency, they probably picked up what you picked up tenfold. And one of the kids were there. I did not get any impression from them that they had intended to harm you.
Yeah, escort, yes. And when we, I don't think I told you this, but when we were leaving, there were 2, and we left in vehicles. There were 2 loud whistles right behind us that sounded like they were really close.
Yeah, and when they're whistling back and forth, it's a form of communication between them.
Yeah.
So my guess is they were talking back and forth, and doing the codes for finally we're getting them out of here. Because it is a form of communication. Just like in the military, they have different things that they go back and forth so that the other side doesn't know what they're talking about. It's basically the same thing. whether it's whistles or bird calls or animal noises or rock claps or tree knocks. All of those things are communication that they do between each other. So that would be my guess. They really, the weird thing is when I talked to them, they did not have a problem with you guys per se. It wasn't like they were trying to run you out and never have you come back. You know, it was just more, it frightened them with that board. Probably
Yeah.
the same reasons that, you know, you guys picked up something wasn't quite right with it, so you weren't going to deal with it either.
Yeah.
You know, and then again, they had one of the kids with them. You had already left. They didn't really plan on you coming back, and then there you were, and a child was with them, and then the board was there.
We actually picked up 2 kids.
Did you? Well, there was an adolescent. I know there was an adolescent there, but there was one that was quite young.
One boy,
And that-
one.
Yeah, the younger one is the one they were concerned with.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. We went back last weekend, myself, Mark, and my friend Phil. And what was interesting was our offering was still there, for the trade piece for the stuff still there.
Yeah, and it just comes down to the individual and what clan they're coming from as to whether or not, you know, they're allowed to take it, because they're not all allowed to take it. The gesture means something. The gesture means more than if they actually take it to them. But if they're in a clan that absolutely forbids it, you know, most of them will respect that and not take it. Some of them will take it anyway, but you never know.
Interesting. Interesting with that. We went back to our other Sasquatch spot shortly after that, and we found 2 18, 19-inch tracks.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So the funny part about it is where that, remember I showed you last week that tree that had been bent over?
Yeah.
Yeah. One was right by the where the tree was tucked in. And I'm not sure if it was there previous week or not. I'm not sure about that. It may have been, and I just missed it. But it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And then about 250 feet away in a different area, we were able to find another about 18, 19-inch print as well.
Oh, that's great. The last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been driving out of state. I've always mind spoke, and I've had, you know, physical contact where, you know, they've been always around or out with me or whatever. But there's a place that I've been going out of state, and the last few weeks I've been going there 2 or 3 times a week. And we took a picture of me sitting on this giant boulder, and it was actually a picture of me taking pictures. It was just ridiculous. And there was right behind me, there's this huge dogman standing there. We never saw him. It was cloaked, but he popped in that picture like he was having his portrait done. And so now I've been going out there every week and sitting with him. And I can hear him moving around in the bush the whole time. He's in the trees back there. And if you take pictures, he pops up in the pictures every time.
Really?
But he seems to be just as sweet as can be. Like, it's just been really incredible. There's 3 of us that went out. And, you know, I knew he was there. I kept getting drawn to that area. In fact, I walked over there and I was talking into the bushes and the trees because I knew he was there. But I didn't, you know, to get him on film was a little bit different. So, yeah, and a lot of these cryptids lately, they are not having a problem popping out and being noticed. And they're, you know, like the footprints, like more and more people are finding the footprints. There seem to be a lot more relaxed about leaving footprints. I've literally there was a female that in my house in Michigan, when she would leave a footprint, she would grab a branch with leaves on it and use it like a broom behind her and wipe her footprints up. And I caught her doing it before. And right now, they just don't seem to care who knows they're there or not.
Interesting. Like our area, I love the fact that it's starting to heat up again.
Yeah.
I really love the fact that it's heating up again.
Well, as the frequency is raising because of the shift, and it still is, and just for the record, a lot of people are feeling really lethargic and tired and drained. Some people are feeling depressed, anxious, what have you, but definitely people are just exhausted, completely exhausted. Know that you're fine. The world isn't falling apart. It's just your body trying to adjust to the change in the frequency because the planet is changing frequencies. And with that, the activity is starting to come back because remember, it got really quiet for a while. And they were doing that in preparation for the shift. And then the shift started and they were exhausted from the shift. But now they're starting to get a little bit more active again, which is surprising. We're under this giant heat wave here, like in the southern states and in the United States. But they're still active. It's really not slowing them down a whole lot.
Well, I also think, too, that our area, knock on wood, no pun intended, we don't have any forest fires as of yet.
Yep.
It's still quite green and lush inside the forest. I think that is something that they would find safety in as well.
Right. Oh, definitely. And, there are areas that are getting the forest fires. I don't know about California. I thought California was starting to get them a little bit, but maybe I could be wrong. I know there's a couple states on the western coast that were having problems with it. And that's so frightening for them, and even if they get down in the underground caves, they can get trapped in the caves. I mean, I was in a state not too long ago, and there was just terrible tornadoes. I was trying to get out of the woods, and they kept saying, no, come down in the caves, come down in the caves. And I'm like, no, I'm not going in the caves. I'm going to try to get back to the hotel is what I was trying to do. And they literally, there was no wind yet. I mean, the sky was black. It was windy behind me, but it wasn't windy in front of me. And they just kept saying, no, it's not safe. You got to stay. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And we saw one that went up in the tree. And it was a matter of minutes. He dropped part of that tree right in front of my car. It dented the top of the car, not badly, just a little dent. But he literally dropped it in front of the car. He's like, no, it's not safe. You can't go. You can't go. Go down in the caves. I'm like, I'm not going in the caves. And when I saw the tree come down, I hit the gas. I went right underneath of it, and it just clipped the top. But I got out on the road, and sure enough, there'd been a tornado, and it had a huge, massive tree that covered the entire road. And I almost hit it because once I got out on the road, that particular spot, it was raining so hard you couldn't see, and I almost hit this massive tree down there because I couldn't see it. So they were trying to warn me, definitely trying to warn me.
Well, that's a good thing that they were trying to warn you.
Yeah, I would have preferred not getting the dent, but
I hear you. Better than it collapsing on top of you.
Exactly. But they were determined. I was to go in the caves, And I'm like, I don't even know where the caves are. Like, I don't have time to look for a map. Okay. I just need to get out of here and get to the hotel.
On that note, Robin, we got about 15 seconds left with you tonight. Thank you for a wonderful cryptid report. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds wonderful. You guys all have a great week and take care.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Robin Haynes, everybody. We love her around here. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, it's Dave 101 time and the weird news of the week. Final half hour of the show continues right after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
I am Dave. I'm just going to rock and stare at you guys. Little Timmy in the backwoods. I am Pam. By the way, Tim, you are Pam. I'm just thinking of what I want to talk about. Oh, yes, I know what I want to talk about. All right. Thank you to Aloha Dave and Forrest Louie for the super chats. Thank you to everybody who shops at our Spaced Out Radio store because we do not have ugly swag. We appreciate it. Totally appreciate it. There we go. Here we go at the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We very much appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It's that time of the night where I yell at all of you to get off my lawn. It's a Dave 101.
It's time for Dave
right, let's bring it on in here, because it almost seems like every now and again I have to have the same rant at the same time about the same topic, but once every 3, 4, 5 months. And it's that time again to have that rant. Excuse me. I don't like to cough on the radio, but sometimes when you got a little froggy in your throat, you can't reach the mute button fast enough, so I apologize. Has to do with skepticism again. It seems more and more in the cryptid UFO world and somewhat in the paranormal that we have a lot of armchair quarterbacks who are controlling the life of skeptics. They don't want to believe. They call themselves purists, looking for empirical proof that aliens are here, Bigfoot lives, and somewhere out there, great-grandma and great-grandpa are making a casserole dish that's making the house smell wonderfully delicious. But you know, the one thing that I will say about skeptics is their attitude has changed. No longer are they skeptical. They're non-believers trying to have a skeptical approach. They've never had an experience. They've never had a sighting. They've never had a close encounter with something that absolutely terrifies you. So what do? They go to their defense and they think that all experiencers are full of it. It's all made up. Anecdotal evidence means nothing, even though anecdotal evidence can put a person behind bars for life in crime in front of a judge and the jury. Nope, they don't believe that. They don't believe any photos. They don't believe any videos. They don't believe people who have highly educated backgrounds in the field of study. They don't believe any government officials who are trying to get the story out, whether they're whistleblowers or people who have been elected. They don't believe any writings. They don't believe that any photograph is real because they can be photoshopped. AI has taken over video so well at this point. I watch my 5-year-old play with my 11-year-old play with AI now. And what he does is incredible. It is. And I look at all this and I say, how the hell are we supposed to prove anything if the skeptics don't believe it? And for some reason, these skeptics seem very entitled that if you don't provide them the proof, then nobody can confirm it because they have the all-powerful voice. In fact, a number of years ago, where we had the ghost photo from their barn, I had this no-name brand paranormal investigator contact me and say, that's a fake photo. You guys put a mannequin up there. No, we didn't. Well, I'm the only one who can look at it to make it look good, to give it the thumbs up. I said, who are you? Well, I'm with such and such paranormal team. I said, man, I have had people who are professional investigators, professional photo analysts look at this photo. And they say it's real. And you get that from the armchair quarterback skeptic crowd who never goes out in the field. You get that from them because for some people, it's the cool thing to do. It's the Arthur Fonzarelli thing to do, to be skeptical, to put people down, to mock them. Because if you notice the skeptics in these fields, they're quite woke. Okay, and what I mean by that is they don't want to accept anything that's out there except their own personal opinion and their own feelings. All these people claim to talk about science. We need more science. When did feelings and their opinions become science. You've heard me many times on this show talk about this, where it seems like every field that we talk about here seems to have the ability to mock itself and to really try hard to be so skeptical that they almost have to one-up each other on their skepticism. I don't know if that made sense, but in my head it did. I don't like the skeptics anymore. Or should we call them the new term, critical thinkers? Okay, the critical thinkers who think that looking at UFO videos from your computer in front of you is going to give them an upper hand on telling you what is real and what is fake. People who've never wandered out of the concrete jungles of their city telling me or anybody else what a Bigfoot print looks like, even though they've never seen it. They've never been out in the forest. Yeah, the armchair quarterbacks, they're real heroes of the game. They should have their own theme songs. Every time they log into their computer, they should have their own theme song, like Macho Man Randy Savage of Pomp and Circumstance, to get ready for more skepticism. They've forgotten that there is a big difference between skepticism and disbelief. The critical thinkers believe they are better than you. They believe that anything you have seen is not worth a grain of salt. They don't understand what it is like to have the full-on experience of being taken by aliens or having a close encounter with a Sasquatch, so close that you could see the wetness in its eyes. Yeah. Now, I've never been that close to a Sasquatch. I would love to. The brave man in me says, go for it. The one who is a little bit more timid says, yeah, that's a little close enough, even though you're 80 yards away. That's just the way it is. I'm tired of the skeptics. I'm tired of the people trying to punk people into aha, caught you moments, told you it wasn't real. I've had it done to me many a time myself. It's not fun. Yet all I want to do is share the stories of what's happened to me. Right? Shouldn't you be allowed to tell your stories? So to the skeptic, once again, I ask, what is proof? Don't give me the empirical evidence crap, because you don't accept that. The only thing you would accept, the skeptics out there, is if it suits your opinion. Whatever the narrative is, as long as it goes by your opinion, that's what you consider proof. As I asked Dr. Bob McGuire on Science Bob and Friends, what is proof? He had troubles answering that question. He really did. So I'm not sure what proof is. I don't know what proof is. And I would sure take an honest person's proof or in a story than proof over what could be manipulated by technology these days, to the point where we are struggling to figure out what is real and what is fake online. It's a dangerous concept. Remember the days we used to trust each other's word? Yes, there's always been hoaxers and liars and snake oil salespeople, but not everybody who has an experience is looking for their 5, 10, 15, 18, 20 minutes of fame. It's not how it works. Real people having real experiences and real emotions and PTSD. And frankly, I don't care who agrees with me or not. Skeptics are all about opinion. They're not about proof. You can't repeat a ghost to do something. I've been in my barn at the museum a couple hundred times. Never once has the action been the same. Why is that? Tell me, skeptics. Why is that? Because you don't understand the phenomena. You don't want to believe there's a phenomena. You don't want to believe there is nothing happening that can be misrepresented by current science or to misrepresent current science. But opinion, oh my goodness. My opinion is that is not real, unprofessional, careless. Why? And I also question, what's wrong with believing? I believe there's air. I've never seen air before. I believe there's air. I believe there are people living in the jungles of Brazil. I've only seen videos of them. I've never seen it for my own eyes, but I believe they're there. I've never seen lions in the wild. I've never seen the pyramids. I've never seen a great white shark, yet it scares me to death. Yet they're out there. So I ask again to the people who do not believe that skeptics are about opinion and not proof, what is proof? And once again, don't give me the empirical evidence crap, because you cannot repeat this phenomena. That is one thing the phenomena has shown us, is it is not repeatable. You don't have to agree with me, but what is proof? Instead, many of the skeptics, not all, many of the skeptics go to the typical woke cheap shots. They insult the person. They insult the person's background. And when they rattle that person, they add in more names, like it's flavor, like you're spicing up your pasta before you eat it. Then they throw tantrums and block on the social media because they can't handle it. Or they get multiple people, because most of them only have between 5 and 8 followers, save for very few. They make sure that they all come up and gang on you and troll you, because that's the way the skeptics are these days. And look, here's the big thing about it all. The people who don't believe the experiencers have no clue, in their opinion, once again, how when most people, not all, most people who have an extraordinary experience, they are trying to debunk it themselves. They don't want to believe it's happened. They don't want to believe that they've had an alien walk down their hallway in their house. They don't want to believe that there's been a dog man in their campsite. They want to believe that those footprints left by that dog man are just someone's St. Bernard who came running through the campsite, even though there's nobody around. They don't want to believe that hauntings are real, because it's ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You're a one-time shot on this planet, because that's what they believe. Belief is opinion. It's not always fact. And that's the problem we have with skeptics today. They don't believe that the experiencer is actually trying to debunk what has happened themselves. I hope one day there's a bridge that brings the two together. I doubt it, though, because the skeptics will lose their opinion. That's your Dave 101.
What time is it?
It's time for Shirky Poo's news.
All right, let's get to the news tonight. And we haven't had a good Florida man story in a while. Oh, but we got one here. Florida man who allegedly handed a bank teller a note asking for the lowly sum of 1 cent was arrested last month for robbery. According to the arrest report, The strange request occurred on June 29th at a Chase Bank branch in Lady Lake, about 80 kilometers north of Orlando. The Sumter County Sheriff's Office said the man, who didn't have an account with the bank, walked into the branch, filled out a withdrawal slip asking for 1 cent, and handed it to the teller. The defendant was told he could not be given 1 cent, police said in the report. Cops say the man then asked the teller, "So you want me to say the other word?" The teller was in fear that the possible violence was imminent. She then called police. When officers arrived, the man was still in the bank. He was taken into custody without incident. Michael Patrick Fleming, 41, was charged with felony robbery with no firearm or weapon. Police say the man's goal was to be arrested. It appears he doesn't have a criminal record. He agreed to be interviewed by investigators following his arrest. The Chase Bank branch was not his first attempt to withdraw a penny. Police say Fleming first went to a Citizens First Bank, but it was closed. According to investigators, Fleming expected to be handed 1 cent from the teller and that he would then sit in the chair and wait for law enforcement. Police say Fleming rented a mobile home in Summerfield, about 16 kilometers from the bank. In May, he was evicted for not paying his $900-month rent. Well, that tells a scary story. I mean, that's not really a good Florida story. It's actually a sad Florida story that the guy just didn't want to be on the streets and he'd rather sit in jail getting his 3 squares, a bed, a hot shower, rather than living on the streets. Sad, sad story. A company has installed computerized vending machines to sell ammunition in grocery stores in Alabama, Oklahoma, and of course, Texas, allowing patrons to pick up bullets along with a gallon of milk. American Round said their machines use an identification scanner and facial recognition software to verify the purchaser's age and are as quick and easy to use as a computer tablet. But advocates worry about selling bullets out of vending machines will lead to more shootings in the U.S., where gun violence killed at least 33 people on Independence Day alone. The company maintains the age verification technology means that the transactions are as secure or more secure than online sales, which may not require the purchaser to submit proof of age, or at retail stores where there is a risk of shoplifting. I'm very thankful for those who are taking the time to get to know us and not just make assumptions about what we're about, CEO Grant Major said. We are very pro Second Amendment. No kidding. You're selling bullets, man. But we are for responsible gun ownership. That's good. And we hope we're improving the environment for the community. There have been a lot of shootings this year. 15 mass killings involving a firearm in 2024 alone, compared to 39 in 2023. You know what? I try not to comment on these. I'm a gun fan. Okay, I am. You know, I passed my courses for my firearms license, but I don't think going for a jug of milk, you should have to pick up some 30-06 shells or 22 long range or 9 millimeters. Just not the place. Anyways, apparently sometimes it turns out Google shortcuts are not always the best directions. A 23-year-old man found him the hard way when he was stranded by himself in his Toyota Tercel. Haven't heard of that brand of car in a long time. On Strawberry Peak in Wasatch County, Utah. The incident happened July 4th, and it took 3 hours for him to get rescued. The driver called 911 and claimed the route he had taken was the shortcut that Google recommended. The Wasatch County Search and Rescue Team took 3 hours to get the driver back down the mountain, authorities said. There were no injuries, thank goodness. A Google spokesperson told people.com in a statement, safety is our top priority. Of course, they have to say that. That's a good HR move. And whenever possible, we aim to route drivers on paved roads. Not this time. While our investigation has not yet identified roads and maps that lead to this location, we'll make the necessary updates to accurately route local drivers. Well, he wouldn't have been there if he wasn't using it. Wouldn't have been there. So we are going to blame you. We're going to blame you bad. We're going to point our fingers and laugh at you when you get on the bus. Google people. Google Map people. Bad. All right. Let's get her ready to say goodnight to all of you because this has been an awesome show. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Woohoo! We made it through another one. So once again, Jackie and Lee are going to fill in for me tomorrow night. Rob is taking some personal leave right now to deal with some family stuff. So he will not be here this weekend. But don't worry, we will have some high quality shows for you. Yeah. High quality shows. That's the way we do it. Right? What am I doing here? Watch you for so long. Wait for you to call. We'll Ugh. Dry Toast, the best name on YouTube right there. Come on, Major Lee. I know I pissed you off during the rant, the Dave 101. Come on. Come on. Calling you out, Major Lee. And your cute dogs, too. By the way, if you've ever gone onto our Facebook group and seen Major Lee's puppies, they're gorgeous. They're not puppies, but his dogs, they're gorgeous. They are. Close that. Close that. Oh, he's on his motorcycle right now. Why are you texting while on a motorcycle, Major Lee? Do you have a death wish? I'd never mess with a guy. He's literally texting while on a motorcycle without spelling errors. That pisses me off, Evan Walters. Yes, Evan Walters. It pisses me off. Major Lee, I don't think you used, you stopped at a red light to quickly type that. I think you're breaking the law, breaking the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law. All right, who are the top 10 heavy metal singers of all time? James Hetfield. He's on my list. Corey Taylor from Slipknot is on my list. Phil Anselmo from Pantera. Chad Gray, in my opinion, from Hell Yeah. And what's his other band called? Oh, damn it. Mudvayne. That's the one. Mudvayne. You have to have Rob Halford and Bruce Dickinson on there. 100%. AC/DC, are they really heavy metal, though, or are they just hard rock? Talking heavy metal. My number one, you may not agree with me. My number one, God rest his soul, Motorhead's Lenny Kilmister. That guy was the epitome of rock and roll. Who else would I put on that list? No, I wasn't full of contradiction at all, Major Lee. That's your opinion, which is a common problem with skeptics. Ozzy, you'd have to put on that list for sure. I'm not a Ronnie James Dio fan, but I think you got to put him on there. I said James Hetfield. Trying to think here. I don't think anybody touches Lemmy, though. Chris Cornell was amazing. I was never a fan of Scott Weiland until Velvet Revolver. Dave Mustaine is strong. I wouldn't put him in my top 10, but he's a legend. Once again, this is called opinion, not fact. Opinion. See, I love Axl Rose. You know I do. But Axl is a hard rock singer. He's not a heavy metal singer. The Ace of Spades is amazing. How about when Motorhead played at WrestleMania while right before Triple H walked down the aisle to the ring? Oh, I would have loved to have seen that. See, it was Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park wasn't a metal group, though. But Chester Bennington had an incredible voice. It's just like one of my favorite bands today is Hailstorm. They're a good rock group. They aren't metal, though. And Lizzie Hale, in my opinion, is one of the greatest female front people of a hard rock band ever. I'd put her up there with Joan Jett. I totally would. Or Lita Ford. Okay, all right. That's right. I got confused there for a second. Yeah, Lizzie Ford is good. I was watching this documentary on Lemmy Kilmister the other day where he thought the Beatles were way more badass than the Rolling Stones. Said the Beatles came from Liverpool, which I assume is pretty rough area. And the Stones were all college art students that came together. And I will say this. Rob Halford. How old is Rob Halford now? He's got to be in his 70s. Rob Halford. How old is he? He's 72. Born in 1951. The fact that he could still go hard the way he is, it's a testament to how amazing he is. And you know what's funny? When I was a kid, I couldn't stand Judas Priest. But Rob Halford is amazing. Need 2 seconds. My top 2 heavy metal singers would be Lemmy Kilmister number 1 and Rob Halford number 2. Bruce Dickinson number 3. That'd be my top 3. If you want to see Rob Halford kick ass, you should see his Christmas albums on YouTube. All right, guys. That time of the night, I'm going to say goodnight to all of you. Heidi Hollis tomorrow night with Jackie and Lee. Then Jackie, Lee, and Terry are going to take you through the weekend as Rob takes some personal time off. So we will see you all tomorrow night. I will see you on Monday. Thank you to Bigfoot Rob, Aloha Dave, and Forrest Louie for the super chats. Thank you to all our new subscribers. We'll see you soon.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.